Hey, what's up, ecosystem? Welcome back to Auto Transport Intel, the car shipping business channel. You know, every week my goal is to bring important panel discussions to the forefront for the auto transport industry and community. We see so many changes that the news almost writes itself. And since the beginning of 2021, we've been hosting car shipping roundtables where carriers, dealers, brokers, dispatchers get together, learn more about each other's businesses, and it's become an opportunity for us to explore diversity and learn more about the various community members. And in March, Julie Delp, the president of Nationwide Auto Transport, was our industry expert featured before the panel, and she shared important advice and challenges that she finds in her business and important topics for others to consider. So that's the beginning of tonight's live show. It's really an opportunity for us to showcase women in auto transport. We have an amazing group tonight, and they're going to share overcoming obstacles, what works for them, what they wish they had known before, and how we can all learn more together. I'm going to hand it over to them. So please do join the live chat, share your thoughts, grow your business, and ask your questions, because it's Tuesday nights live on Auto Transport Intel. I'm Jay, your host. Welcome back to the show. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Auto Transport Intel. It is Tuesday nights live, and we're here, and we're back. And it is Women in Auto Transport. This is show number 187 in a row on a Tuesday night, and I want you to feel welcome. Please do feel welcome. This is an open forum, and I want everyone, if you want to, jump in the live chat, say hello, promote your business, ask a question, and we're going to go into the live chat here in a few minutes and say hello. Actually, it's not going to be long. We're going to say hello, and I want to talk to you. I want to hear what's going on with you and how excited you are for the show tonight. I'm really excited. This is going to be an amazing show. Mic check 1 2 3. Make sure we're okay. And we are at the quarter hour. We're going to go into industry news, national news, social media news, front of the store, back of the store, what's being talked about, auto transport, tech, car shipping trends, what's happening in automotive. Then we're going to, at the 40-minute mark, we're going to bring on Julie Delp. She's the president of Nationwide Auto Transport. We're going to get an overview, talk to her. She's put some notes together. She's got an amazing discussion lined up, because we're going to open the gates and bring in the Women in Auto Transport panel discussion. It's all women. I'm going to go off camera. That's right. It's the least amount of talking you've seen me do in 187 shows, because I'm gonna pass the baton, and this is a show for women in auto transport. It's very exciting, and so we want you to say hello in the live chat. Do me a favor, do that for me. Also, do me a favor, help me out. After you leave a like, thank you so much. you see below the video, you can click share, which then you click copy, and you grab that YouTube link. Text it, email it, share it on social media. Let people know this is it. This is Women in Auto Transport. Still got another 30 minutes to join in, so join in. Tap your friends. Let them know this is going to be an amazing show. You're not going to want to miss it. And you can, if you don't know what you're doing, go to autotransportintel.com. Click sign up, become an ATI insider. No, you won't get rich overnight. It could be a long road. But you're going to get good advice that you can rely on, and hopefully we can help you. We are growing a community. Do me a favor, stick around, because right after this we're going to go into the live chat. We'll be right back. That's United Road. Are you signed up with Holly? Go to HAULLY.com. Click on sign up. Get signed up for the load board. Also, be sure to learn more about the National Vehicle Transporters Alliance. Go NVTA.org. United Road was on the show recently, telling you more about it. We've got some great videos on YouTube. So let us know if you need help, and the links are in the live chat. It is now time. Let's go say hello to the live chat. Now, I've got to back it up to the top here. But you're seeing the live chat. Get on the screen. Put in your URL. Put in your phone number. Put in your email address. Let somebody know that, you know, you're here. You're ready to go. Speaking of, okay, so we got Finest Towing and Recovery was in here first. Hello, everyone. Carlos Braxton, ACB Logistics. What's going on? And that's LuAnn and John from Finest Towing and Recovery. LuAnn's on the show tonight. What's up, Carlos? Christina, hello all. What's up, Christina? Thanks for saying hello. Oh, Joe Hawk is here from Black Widow Imaging. What's going on? Man, we had a great show on Friday on Cars on the Move with Black Widow and Transwest Trailers. That was awesome. Kimberly is in here. What's going on, Kimberly? Welcome to Tuesday Nights Live with your host. We're all here. We're all piling in. This is so great. Felton Taylor says hello from Unique Auto Transport LLC of Central Texas signing in. Cool. What's going on? I like that. I got the company name. I got your name. I know where. I love that. Over time, maybe I'll remember it over time. But somebody in the live chat is like, "Oh yeah, what's up, Central Texas?" Ty is in here. Cars on the Move. What's going on, Ty? What's happening, buddy? This is a big show. Did you see that? Going on LinkedIn? It's getting shared, getting liked. Yeah, this is a big deal. This is really, really neat. It's pretty exciting. Very exciting. I can feel it. Jackie Ramirez, she's here in the live chat. She's on the show tonight in the live panel. This is amazing. Sweaty Mac. What's up, Sweaty Mac? Long-time listener, first-time caller. Thanks for saying hello. That's super cool. Chris Chamberlain, what's up, Chris? Hey, everyone, ready for ladies' night? Yeah, it's okay if the boys tag along, right? Let's see. Oh, John Cochran is in here. What's going on, John? Speaking of the round table, I'm seeing a lot of round table. You know, the round table is you know, and you know what's cool? So I'm in meetings, and I'll talk about the round table a little bit. Everybody likes the round table. It's really, really neat. It's a neat thing happening. Really proud of it. Julissa Campusano is on the show tonight. What's up, Julissa? Thanks for saying hello in the live chat. And, oh, Super Dispatch is here. Ben from Super Dispatch. What's going on, Ben? Thanks for saying hello and tuning in. That's great. Shanna Harris. She's in the panel tonight. What's going on? I haven't met Shanna. That's another thing. Like, and that's what's neat about the round tables and in a panel like this. There's people here that I haven't even talked to yet. So cool. Wendy Delta, what's up, girl power? Wendy from Delta Auto Transport. So cool. Thanks for tuning in, Wendy. That's great. Thanks for saying hello. Sarah Scrantz, Black Widow Imaging. What's going on? Yes, Sarah, we are so glad you could join us. And that's something too. For anyone that's not in the live panel, whether you can't make it or you weren't sure or you didn't get a direct invite, I don't want you to feel left out. You're here. Get involved. Say hello. That's so cool. I really appreciate it. Rachel, dude, Rachel Bicondova is a driver. She's in the live chat. She's on tonight. That is so cool. Catherine Guerrero's on the show tonight. Future of GT Logistics. Wow, this is great. Oh, JT here. Worked with John and LuAnn at Finest Sewing. Thank you, Sweaty Mac. See, I didn't know. And look at that. Ty is ringing the cowbell. Thank you so much, Ty. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate it. Getting the super chat moving. Diamond Hands, ATI to the moon. Thank you so much. There really is something special happening here, and all contributions go back into the channel. Plus, if we have a meeting and you're not sure, there wasn't any exchange of money, super chat, great way to contribute to the channel. Really appreciate it. And there's some cool stuff coming up. Thank you so much, Ty. I really appreciate that. Joel Hawk, multiple Black Widows on the call. Bryanna Cox, she's on the show tonight. So cool. Asset Resolutions. Thank you, Bryanna. Thanks for saying hello. Thanks for joining the panel tonight. Because that's another thing that we do, like on the round table and in general. We got a lot of verticals to try to connect together, right? Silo time is over. It's time to band together. We got to talk. We got to fix some stuff. So thank you, Bryanna. That's so cool. And I did. You know what? I retired the repo hammer. I don't have it anymore. Capable of change. I'm capable of change. Brian Abbott, what's going on, Brian? Thanks for tuning in. Saying hello. Lambo Transco LLC. Saying hello. Michele Pierog's here. She's on the panel tonight. Saying hello. Thanks so much, Michele. Oh, man, this is neat. Jennifer Schultz is here. She's on the panel tonight. Wow. This is a party. And in fact, hey, Ty, Kandy said she's got the Moscato and the candles going. That is awesome. Oh, man. I'm most grateful ATI's put the show together for the ladies of transport. Honored and beyond thankful. Wow, that's great. And thank you for being a part of it. That's so cool. Thank you, Catherine. That's great. Super Dispatch, really excited for this panel. Women in Auto Transport. You ladies keep the cars moving. Here, here. Silverman is here. Hey, good evening as always. Ding, ding. Fast Eddie Transport. Should be a great show. It should be a great show. Thank you so much. That was a great live chat. I appreciate everybody tuning in, saying hello. Mic check 1, 2, 3. Hopefully, is the audio okay? Is the video okay? Bryanna Cox, I'm so proud. We're truly stronger together. It's all about improving our ecosystem. Here, here. So great. Thank you guys so much. All the stats are looking good. The levels are good. I think the internet's good. Hang on to your armchairs. I think we're okay. All right, I'll tell you what. Here's what we're going to do. We got 8:15 coming around the corner. We got to get into some industry news. Got an amazing show put together. So stick around. We're going to be right back.
SuperFlo Systems is excited to introduce DispatchCenter.com, a full-service load board for brokers, shippers, carriers, and drivers, featuring integrations with Truckify mobile app and iTruckPay. Use Route Scout technology to build your routes. Maximize truck capacity. Stay loaded at the highest available revenue with the least amount of driving miles. Tell us your lanes. Loadification will alert you to new loads posting in your route. Views instant load notifications sent with Book Now features. Search and book loads directly through the Truckify mobile app. Brokers and shippers, post your loads to Dispatch Center. Give authorized carriers the opportunity to instantly book your loads. Dispatch Center powers the Truckify mobile app, allowing instant load assignment to the driver. Truckify will send inspection reports, geo-located pickup and delivery photos, BOLs, and invoices back to the broker. Brokers, shippers, carriers, and drivers, Dispatch Center, and Truckify have what you need to be more profitable every day.
That's Dispatch Center by SuperFlo. Go to dispatchcenter.com, get signed up. And Mark is here. He's in the live chat. So if you have a question about the SuperFlo Systems family of end-to-end auto transport software, brokers looking for CRMs, dispatchers looking for a TMS, carriers looking for a mobile app, everybody looking to get paid, where's my car, etc. And by the way, thank you so much, Mark, for ringing the cowbell with the super chat. We really appreciate you. Appreciate you being here, your contribution. And we got it, man. We have a great SuperFlo Systems show coming up next month. So hold on to your hats for Carrier Load Boss. What? Awesome. All right, let's go into some industry news. Let's get it going. It is Women in Auto Transport. This is show 187 in a row on a Tuesday night. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us tonight. This is going to be an amazing show. As I mentioned earlier, so we were having the car shipping roundtable in March. There's Julie in upper left square, and she was our featured expert. And, you know, there's Catherine, and there's Jackie, and there's LuAnn, and we're seeing, and Linda with CY Financial. And we're seeing, you know, there is even more here to talk about than I realized. So I asked Julie, and I see her emails too. Do you get Julie's emails of her loads? Like every day. She is busy. And I'm thinking, you know, we got to talk to Julie some more. You know, let's not only feature her again, but let's ask her to help host a Women in Auto Transport panel discussion. She says yes, because as the president of Nationwide Auto Transport, she stays busy, she cares about this community, she knows a lot. She has a lot of information to share. Look at this, Christina's ringing the... Thank you, Christina, for ringing the cowbell and being a part of the community. We've seen Christina's name more and more in the live chat, and we see that, you know, the community's like that. I think that this community, this Tuesday night thing, it's kind of addicting, right? It becomes part of your normal routine. Oh, it's Tuesday night again. It's time for auto transport intel. And so thank you, Christina. I really appreciate that. You know, I look at the industry, I've divided up into verticals. It was already divided. I've just tried to identify those verticals so we can connect them. OEMs, auctions, dealers, shippers, services, brokers, carriers, equipment, regulations, and loads. And so tonight, I think we're going to bring together services, carriers, auctions, brokers, women in auto transport. Right? That's what we're doing tonight. And we go back of the store, front of the store, you know, industry parking lot, transport parking lot, to the front of the store where you sell the cars, and around it goes. By the way, now more than ever, with limited supply and some of the other trends we're seeing, man, you can't let that block of ice melt too long. What's he talking about? Tune in Fridays. It is the year of the hybrid. You can't send a car digitally. But, man, if they could, they would. Physical meets digital. When it's a packed house at the auction, Ty is on Clubhouse talking transport. Find him. Ty Thompson at Transport Guy on Clubhouse. Talking to dealers, carriers, auctions. Send me your stuff. Send me your info. Holy cow, look at this. Catherine Guerrero with the super chat. Wow, thank you so much, Catherine. This is going to be a great show, and we've loved having you in the roundtables. I know you've been to at least 2. It might be 3. Have you been to all 3 roundtables this year? We had the January, then we had Groundhogs February, then we had car shipping, and then we had and the super spreader. We've had 4 roundtables this year. Wow. It's amazing. Catherine, it's great to have you here tonight. It's great to see you in the roundtables, participating, talking networking, man. ATI, Girl Gang, that's cool. Super cool. Thank you so much, Catherine. So send me your stuff, autotransportintel@gmail.com. I don't have the conclusion on this, but I found it interesting. Now this, I think I know. You know what? That car needs to be back here. That's the problem. Don't load it up top. I'm not going to say don't get lazy, because nothing's as simple as that. But you got to mind your P's and Q's and move that thing, man. Otherwise, somebody else will have to move it for you. Apple's AirTag. Do you see this? I guess if people say, "Where's my car?" long enough for $29, you're going to stick it in the car and tell somebody. $99 for a pack of 4. Apple's AirTag. That's interesting. Driveway.com. This is a YouTube video. Pretty new. We're going to keep seeing new business models. If we don't get stuff figured out, we're going to keep seeing... Either way, we're going to keep seeing them. Black Book's talking about all 9 car segments had another week of gains exceeding 1%. I mean, through the roof, these prices. Do you see this? Oh my gosh. I can't remember if this is actual or forecasted. Either way, it's crazy. The Ultima price is so high, my picture's on top of it. Wow. Wow, that's crazy, man. That's some crazy stuff. Used car prices through the roof. So buyers are plenty, but dealers are running on empty with assembly lines. You know this. We keep seeing this. Microchips, inventory. Vince's GM Center is not going out of business, but the dealership's lot in eastern Colorado is so sparse, some customers have assumed that it is. Have you done that? How many carriers, transporters, how many dealerships have you been to lately where you wonder that, are you guys going out of business? Is this your final delivery? It's an awful time for dealers to be running short. The U.S. economy is making a comeback, and consumers are flush with tax refunds and other round of stimulus checks. Americans who have stayed away from the dealerships for a year are getting vaccinated. It's the vaccinated dealership special. No, it's not. No. Hey, Lithium Motors accelerates dealer acquisitions amid car boom sales, buying up more dealerships. Lithium's growing, man. Thank you, Black Widow Imaging, for sharing the information from Cars on the Move, Auto Transport Intel. Huh? Thank you so much. Rental car prices are so high in Hawaii, tourists are renting U-Haul trucks. What? Now, I'm sharing this because I have a hunch. It's not just Hawaii. Hey, the car conference is happening in June. Man, it's going to be off the hook. Everyone has been all cooped up. I don't have to tell you the history of cooped up for the last year. Well, car conference it's in June. Everyone's going to be there talking business and ready to, network. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great show. National Vehicle Transporters Alliance is here. It's now here. Sign up as a Classic member for free. The National Vehicle Transporters Alliance. Go NVTA.org. Thanks to United Road. Hey, this is how you get your car shipping business news. It's on Auto Transport Intel. It's Tuesday nights live. 5,000 carriers, 5,000 loads by June 5th. 555. Help us get there. And I think it's happening. So to thank us all, we're going to put it up on the big screen. You guys ready? Because it is now time. Are you a car shipping guru? Let's play Ask Larry. Here we go. Luella Bates became the first licensed female driver in New York in what year? You can put it in the live chat. What you really want to do is go to dispatchcenter.com/Ask Larry. Go there, submit your answers. Mark's in the live chat. Ask him why. Why do that? Well, there it is. There's the link. Do it. This is I love this segment. Thank you so much, Mark. And I'm not putting the answers tonight. You get the answers on Thursday. So you have time to play. You have time to win. Go win. What is the most appropriate carrier pay amount to ship a 2019 Ford Escape from Omaha to Huntington, West Virginia. Now these are stumpers here. Okay, maybe it's not $595. Is it $980? See, the thing is, Larry the Llama, the Transport Auto Quoter TAQ quotified llama expert, he's not messing around. He knows what it takes to get a car moved. And that's the thing. If you don't know the rate to charge your customer, use Larry the Llama. Alexify. Or at least I didn't start someone. Did I start your Alexa? Alexa, open Quotify. Alexify. In 2018, women made up what percentage of the 3.5 million truckers in the United States? Interesting. It's probably not 18. I'm just trying to help you out. It's probably not 18. Rachel's a driver. I wonder if Rachel can, In fact, I saw a headline today. I saw this headline that's talking about this summer, good luck finding gas when you want to go there's not a gas shortage, there's a tanker trucker shortage. Really? That's crazy, isn't it? Well, there's an idea. Here we go. What is the most appropriate carrier pay amount to ship a 2015 Audi A3 from Madison, Wisconsin to Tulsa, Oklahoma? Interesting. Larry knows. Go ahead and submit, man. Yeah, Rachel's got it. 6.6. I mean, I don't know. That's what I would go with, too. But I like some of this input in the live chat. Great guesses going on. Thank you, John. Really appreciate that. Yeah. No, dude, there's the link. It's still there. dispatchcenter.com/Ask Larry. Mark, it'd be great to know, wonder if we could know how many people have submitted answers. I don't know. Just an idea. All right, moving on. One more. Here we go. If you see a posting with iTruckify links on a load board, you can use this link to Okay, Larry's trying to help you out. He wants you to get at least one right. Huh? Okay, everybody. That was fun. That's really fun. I really appreciate... Try the veal. Okay, let's go back to some more industry news. Remember, go to autotransportintel.com, click on sign up, become an ATI insider. You can talk to Ty. You can maybe get on one of the roundtables. You want to grow your network, grow your business, talk to like-minded individuals, talk to unlike-minded individuals. Possibly get on the email blast. Do that for me, and also raise a glass. Here's to the ELD punch. Thank you so much. And we're going to stick around. We're going to be right back after this.
Hey, it's Ty, transport guy, hanging out in the transport parking lot always. If you want to learn to grow your business, I think you should probably go to ATI Insider, sign up for free. Don't give anybody any money. And with that, you get, I think you get a 20-minute phone call, which usually turns into a little longer than that. You get to join the roundtable, which is once a month. And at the roundtable, what we do is we get pretty detailed about how to build your business, how to connect with dealers, how to connect with auctions, how to build a lane. If you're new, if you saw a YouTube video and says, I can make $1 million in a week and I want to get into car hauling, Ty, and maybe you own a Stinger, maybe you own a little rollback. Man, how do I figure this out? Should I buy this? Should I buy that? What do I need? How do I do it? You get to make relationships with other carriers. It's kind of not a one-size-fits-all. It's here a little bit about you. Go to the ATI Insider. Get signed up. I can help you. I really can.
That is Ty. He's in the live chat. There he is. He's already talking and networking. He wants to help you out. You got the phone number. You got the email address. If you need help, contact Ty. Listen, if you're just joining now, it's just 8:30. So you're 30 minutes late. You know, it really doesn't matter. This place is like Cheers. You can show up whenever, and it's still cool. So thank you for showing up. Please do say hello in the live chat. Remember to leave a like and share, subscribe, tell your friends. The Women in Auto Transport panel, it is coming up soon. We got a little bit more industry news the second half, so let's get to it. Automotive technology and its developments. So what I try to do is check out different news articles that'll help paint the full picture. Manufacturers are well aware they must rethink current operations, and they're investing, let's see, $400 billion in the production of autonomous vehicles over the next 5 years. It's not going to go away, regardless of how many news stories we read. It's coming, it's happening, and it's going to infect the entire industry. I mean, it's going to affect some business models fundamentally. So we're all going to have to keep paying attention, stay with the news, and figure out what's going on. We're going to do this together. Tesla reports record quarterly profit as electric car sales boom. Here's what I found really interesting too. Delivery doubled to 184 grand in vehicles in early 2021. Tesla, man, it's happening. And not only on the vehicle side, but on the battery side. Tesla called it. Man, Tesla. Holy cow. And this is on, there's even Tesla forums now going around you can read. Seems all you hear is bad stories on how much Tesla sucks, blah, blah. That's not my experience. After looking for some time, I found a car. That's the one I wanted. And I pushed the order button. I paid $1,500 deposit. By that afternoon, I got a call from a Tesla sales associate to confirm everything and set up shipping. That's what we're talking about. There are still phone calls being made in this world. How cool. And then text confirmations of the same is the norm. Good to go. Overall, great experience taking delivery of the car with an unexpected bonus. Well done, Tesla Finance and Delivery and Sales. Dealers prepping for the inevitable shift toward electric vehicle service. I know. Seems like it won't go away. Electric this, electric that. But, it's inevitable. It's happening. It's part of the news. Next. Oh, here we go. 100 most influential companies. The CEO of GM, Mary Barra. So, if you look closely, you see more signs of what's leading us to tonight's panel. The key is showing people they can do it. Thank you, Michele, for sharing this on LinkedIn. Women in trucking. It's being talked about. It's being celebrated. On Sunday night, Paul Meyer had Women in Automotive Service on his show. It just makes sense. The women in auto transport are here tonight. So cool. That's great. As we said before, Julie Delp, president of Nationwide Auto Transport. She's going to kick us off. We've got Sue and Jen and Julissa from Murphy Auto Transport Service. Sue is also my co-host on Thursdays. Jen provides background appeal. Catherine from Futuro GT Logistics. She's here tonight. Visit FuturoGTLogistics.com. And that's another important point tonight. If you see somebody talk and you want to connect with them, let us know. If we don't have their information at the time, or if you don't see it in the live chat, send me an email, autotransportintel@gmail.com. Thank you so much, Ty. What's up, Constantine? Yeah, this is a big show, man. This is happening. There's my reminder. Women in Auto Transport's coming up. We got Mountain View Logistics on the show. Jackie Ramirez. Go to mountainviewlogisticsllc.com. Park My Fleet. Michele Pierog. Go to parkmyfleet.com. Kandy Marr. Twick Escort Service. Fantastic. Bryanna Cox Asset Resolutions. These are all websites of women in the panel tonight. And Rachel is a driver for Midwestern car carriers. Fantastic. Thank you, Rachel. And this was shared. Oh, this is on LinkedIn. This is how, man, we gained a lot of steam today. and I'm excited about it because, man, I've only got a few more minutes left to talking, and then I'm going to be taking the night off. You know, last week, new vehicle shipping by rail. Did you see that show? That was a great show. If you missed it, go to YouTube, check it out after this show. Speaking of women in auto transport, there's Lisa Hanmer with Transport Perspectives. Jeff and Peter, what a great show. Thank you guys so much for taking the time. Auto Transport Intel, 4 times a week. Tuesday nights live is just the beginning. Then we go into DOT Compliance on Wednesdays. Now, DOT Compliance is a live chat show. It's only 30 minutes, but if you got an FMCSA question, new authority, DOT, oh yeah. Let's talk about proper weight load distribution. Anybody want to say anything? Well, say it with us tomorrow, because I bet you can't stump your DOT guy, Brian. Thank you, David, for providing you and the stump. Dispatching live on Thursdays, load board search advice. Search the load boards. It's not as hard to put a route together as it usually is, but check it out. Join us. We got Muggo problems. We're making money. We're shooting dice. What? And we're counting money. Oh my gosh, look at all that money we got to count. Getting rich on Dispatching Live. Join us. And Fridays is Cars on the Move. Dealers, auctions, carriers. Fridays at noon. With Ty and Jay. Man, did we have a heck of a show Friday. We were live from Black Widow Imaging with Transwest Trailers Alex. God, that was a great show. If you missed it, go back and check it out. You will really like that. And don't forget, in the video description below the video, I got time codes you can click on. Now, what is this? Next Tuesday night, I haven't done one of these in a while. Remember top 5 car hauling load boards? Then I did top 12 car hauling load boards. Then I did auto transport software update Q4 2019. Well, it's time for the Auto Transport 21. And frankly, I'm nervous. I'm nervous because this is kind of a big deal. So tune in. Tune in for that's going to be really interesting. And with 2 weeks, we got Carrier Load Boss with Dispatch Center and SuperFlo. That's going to be an awesome show. Hey, thanks for saying hello, Bart. What's going on? Andrew's here too. So cool. Thank you guys. Man, you're just in time. The panel's going to start here in a couple minutes. Just in time. And then also one more teaser. Mobile app tug of war. Yo. Man. Wow. Wow. And here's what's really neat about that show. It was an idea. I had some ideas, but tug of war, I talked to Stan, and he's going to be on the show with us. And Stan of Kansas Transit. And he was like, yeah, it's like a tug of war. I don't know. And I was like, that's it, man. That's it, Stan. Mobile app tug of war. It's going to be a great show. We got an amazing panel lined up. If you want to be a part of the channel, let me know. Because this is the Car Shipping Business Channel. Send me an email, Auto Transport Intel, and let's put a show together. Whether you want to do a panel, a discussion, you're an expert, or you just have other ideas, advertiser, etc., get a hold of me. And yes, by the way, I am backed up on emails, so I apologize for any delays. But we are, man, this thing is taking off. It is like a rocket. There it is. I saw some rockets in there. Look at those rockets. Rockets in love. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's 8:40. It's time to bring on Julie Delp, president of Nationwide Auto Transport. So do me a favor. We're going to be right back. When we come back, we're going to have Julie with us to give an overview. And then soon after that, we're going to start with the Women of Auto Transport. Women in Auto Transport. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Are you completely stressed out from all the calls and the contracts and the verification of loads when nobody answers the phone? Call Murphy Auto Dispatch Services today. Murphy Auto Dispatch Services has over 15 years of experience in the transport industry. We are your office while you are on the road. We book, we verify, and we bill out your loads for you. We have an excellent accounting staff and an even better dispatch team. Give us a call today at 417-273-0021. Or if you want to email me, it's murphyautotransport31@yahoo.com. Give us a call today.
Hey, well, that is the voice of Sue Murphy Auto Transport, and she's my co-host on Thursdays. She runs a dispatch office. If you're looking for a dispatcher, she's also a fully licensed broker. The links are in the live chat. Lincoln Guzman is here. What's going on? Guys, this is it. Julie is here, and she's ready to go. And I'm going to introduce her, and then we're gonna talk for a few minutes, and then we're gonna kick off the Women in Auto Transport panel discussion. So here we go. Julie, can you see me and hear me okay?
I can see you and I can hear you. How we doing?
We're doing good. I know we're. Are you excited?
Yeah, sorta. I'm excited.
I'm very.
What woman doesn't love to talk, right?
That's right. And you know what's great here, and I'm showing the live chat. You can see it in the live chat. People are excited for the show. I could see it on LinkedIn today, and it's neat because what we try to do on Auto Transport Intel is try and have different types of discussions, and this is yet another. It's a niche, it's a vertical, and yet it's a community. It's a learning experience. You put together some really great items to help further the discussion. Will you tell me more about that?
Well, we have a lot to cover tonight. We have a really well-rounded group of gals that are going to join us. We have dispatchers, we have carriers, we have brokers, we have auto remarketers, we have auction reps, we have ports, we just a little bit of everything. So we're going to touch on a lot of different aspects of either getting into the business, how to grow the business, how to build relationships, how to share your market. And I know that's going to be a foreign concept to a lot of people, but it really works well. And just get a lot of information from all the different parties to find out what works well, what we all wish we knew more about when we started, and how we can help each other out.
So here's what I'm going to do, because I saw your questions. I want to ask, can I ask you what drew you to this industry? How did you get started?
Well, I think we've talked a little bit before. Ours was born of a need. We, back in the 80s, we had some used car lots and some car rental companies, and we'd go off to the auctions, buy our equipment. We could never get it home. And we just got frustrated that we'd have curtailments and interest starting long before we got the car home and got it reconditioned and ready to sell. And so that's how it started. We bought our first truck and trailer, just not for hire, just to go haul our own stuff. And then the phone started ringing off the hook. All the other dealers were calling, hey, can you bring my stuff home too? Or how many more trucks can you guys get down there for us? And it was kind of interesting. We weren't looking for a business opportunity. We were just looking to get our fleet home so we could sell it. And then we discovered we made more money in transport than we ever did in used car sales. So there we went. So that's kind of how we started.
And in fact, that is how many businesses start, right? You go on an adventure, and then you find a profit center, and then you pivot.
Right. And having that flexibility and that willingness to just take that leap and say, this is the next step. It was scary, but at the same time, it had proved itself to be worthwhile. Then of course you got to go through the learning curve of what licenses do I need? How do I register? How do I get my authority? I've got to get new insurance. So there's a lot of things that you have to learn, and there's no school that teaches you all of that. At least there wasn't at the time. So, and there's a lot of pieces that you have to weigh in.
So I know that I could keep talking, but it would take away from what we're trying to do. I'll tell you what I did is I'm focused on the live chat, because what I need to do is I need to bring in the rest of our panel.
Perfect.
And I know they're getting excited and gearing up. If you're going to be on the panel tonight, please do me a favor to remember your audio settings and what we got, mute microphones, stuff like that. And in fact, something I've noticed that when I do Zoom meetings is I need to remember to start my video, because sometimes when you launch Zoom, you don't have your video on, so you start your video, maybe mute your microphone. make sure nothing's in the background, get ready to go. And with that, I just started the invite. So,
And if you're on a small laptop, you got to scroll down to find the little video icon at the bottom. So for those of you that might be using a laptop, that's where to find it.
Awesome. Okay, so the invite went out. Let's see. And, Christina already thanks you, Julie, for what you were talking about, how you got started. Reggie McCorkle from Big Guys Trucking says hello. Yeah, this is going to be hard. I'm just going to have to take myself off camera. Otherwise, I'm going to keep talking. So here we go. I'm removing my camera. I'm muting my microphone. And I'll see you in a while.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Well, it looks like we've got some of the panels starting to show up. I'm going to go through quick introductions so you know who all's going to be with us tonight. And as we add them in, we're going to invite specific people to kind of interview so that if you've got questions, maybe Jay can pop those back up for us. So from Nationwide Auto Transport, you've got myself, Julie Delp, and my dispatcher, Shanna Harris. Shanna, you're on with us. From Murphy Auto Transport Services, we have Sue Cuthbertson, Jen Schultz, and Julissa Campusano. From Futuro GT Logistics, we have Catherine Guerrero. From Mountain View Logistics, we have Jackie Ramirez. So that if you've got questions, maybe Jay can pop those back up for us. From Jaxport Storage, we have Kandy Marr. Nationwide Auto Transport, you've got myself, Julie Delp. And so if you guys could mute your audio out there. Midwestern Car Carriers, we have Rachel Bicondova. Auction Academy, we'll have Penny Wana. She may be joining us a little bit later. She had a commitment. Park My Fleet, we had Michele Pierog, and I think I pronounced that correctly. If not, please correct me when it's your turn. Asset Resolutions, we have Bryanna Cox. Finest Towing and Recovery, we have LuAnn Garofalo. So that will be our panel, our roundtable participants for tonight, and I think you're going to get a lot of great information from everybody. So I'm excited to start with Rachel Bicondova. Rachel, are you with us yet?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Oh, fantastic. I'm not sure why the video part's not working. I have an iPad.
Okay. Jay, any help on that?
Well, I don't think I know why that would be on the iPad. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to defer to the live chat. You guys can hear me talking, right?
Yeah, we can.
I'm going to ask the live chat if anybody knows on the iPad how to join by video. And with that, let's go back to the Zoom.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute.
Rachel, there you are.
Got it.
I can see
got
you.
it.
Awesome. Welcome.
I'm in my truck.
Glad you could join us. I know you're out there busy making things happen. So one of the important things I think everybody listening needs to know that the drivers are oftentimes overlooked and underappreciated. And I want you to know from all of us here that we see you, we value everything you do. And with that, I wanted to ask you some questions that maybe would help people that are new to the industry understand a little bit more about what it is you do, what your needs are, and things that you wish would work better or things that work great and why they do work great. So the first thing I had for you is what drew you to this industry?
Well, it was kind of accidental, if you will. I'm new to the trucking industry. I just been driving a truck for 2 years as of last March. One of my friends, her cousin needed a team driver. So my boyfriend and I, we can team drive. We team drive before. And what he wanted us to do was drive his semi truck and pull a high mount trailer. We had no knowledge of what it consisted of. And so we had a walkthrough of the trailer and that was it. And so we learned by trial and error what to do. And then it didn't work out very well for those 4 months. I mean, we did do a lot of learning, and we also had a Cottrell dealer. We found out a Cottrell dealer didn't mind us answering questions. So we learned a lot through him. And
Nice.
then that didn't pan out very well because they thought they were losing money. So they let us go. and we wanted to continue hauling cars. I mean, we liked it. It was a lot of fun. So we got on with, or I have my own truck and my boyfriend has his own truck, and we got on with Midwestern Car Carrier. And man, let me tell you, the knowledge and the experience that we're gaining with this company has been awesome. And so as each day goes by, I'm learning more and more and enjoying this job.
Right. And you don't hear a lot of people. I mean, car hauling is physical, right? You would agree that, you know, when it's 20 below, you're still out there. If it's 100 degrees, you're still out there. So it's a very physical job, and it's not for the faint of heart. So I applaud you for enjoying it while you're still doing it. So can you tell me what obstacles you might have encountered as you were learning that you didn't really anticipate, that were just kind of like a, whoops, didn't think about this?
Learning how to use, first of all, was the high mount, the 8 car and the 7 car high mount. We didn't know anything about the pins. We didn't know anything about the hydraulics. We didn't know anything about strapping or chaining. So we kind of had to learn those by trial and error. And so now that I'm driving a Stinger, the distance between the cars, you know, how, you know, my fist is not as big as a man's fist. So I have to add, you know, a couple of more fingers. Right. But I finally found what the 4 inches were, are my hand. Just different things. I'm still learning. I'm still continuing learning. So those were some of the obstacles, because I ended up damaging cars. And of course I've had to pay for them, but needless to say, it's just a learning curve. I know I didn't do the same mistake twice.
Right. Right. That's exactly it. And I mean, that's something somebody coming into this industry needs to understand is, you know, those damage claims can make or break you. So, you know, taking the time and being careful and maybe loading slower at the outset until you get that experience and you're comfortable with it. So as far as training, is that something you're just doing as you continue to drive, or have you had any formal training in car hauling?
Did not have any formal training, no.
Okay.
But I do have, because we learned on the high mount, and because I learned on the high mount and I did my errors there, I believe I felt good enough to do the Stinger. But you know, there's a lot of guys that work out there that do help me, especially the train. There are guys with Midwestern that see me loading, and they're like, "Hey, have you ever thought of this?" Or, "Hey, you know, if you'll do better this way." And I'm like, I welcome. I enjoy the guys coming and telling me, "Hey, you're doing that wrong." And they're really nice about it. And I'm really cool about them telling me, or else, you know, if I'm doing it wrong, that could be a potential damage against me. And I don't, you know, I'd rather them come up and tell me I'm doing something wrong. But yeah, I'm learning as I go. And I feel like each day gets better.
Right.
Each day. Right. And if I have a question, I have phone numbers, or I can even FaceTime a couple of people that I have in the past. Hey, can you help me out with this?
Right. Show them what it looks like and what am I doing wrong, and get that feedback. And I think that's one nice thing about the network of drivers. And I don't care where you're at, what state, what auction, what ramp, what rail yard. I don't think there's many drivers out there that wouldn't come to the assistance of another driver if they thought they could really help them learn something. They're not just being, you know, pointing out what you're doing wrong. They're just trying to teach you and help you learn from it. And I know there's so many times that, you know, we got a phone call the other day. "Hey, I don't know who's in truck so-and-so, but they've got a bed liner coming loose." And so you can't see it when it's on the top of the truck. So I quickly called the driver and, you know, was able to save a damage claim. But those are the kind of things that somebody else driving down the road maybe wouldn't think about it. But another car hauler, they know what's happening and they know what's going to happen if it's not corrected. So it's a good kind of brotherhood, sisterhood out there. And I think people coming in, you know, there's a lot of support in the industry when you're just getting trained up. So if you could describe a perfect day in your world, what would it look like?
Getting into the yard, being able to have all the cars right there for me. I mean, close. I don't have to walk. One time I walked 3 miles because I was trying to find the car. It wasn't in the bay that it said it was going to be.
Yeah.
And then getting them loaded quickly. I'm very methodical. I'm very in my zone, and nobody bothers me. So that way, and then getting it delivered that day.
Right.
Sometimes I'm driving. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say, what kind of back office support do you think facilitates that day going perfect for you? What do you want from your dispatchers or from your coordinators that make that day go better for you?
You know what my dispatchers do, which is really, really awesome, is that once I get empty, I have another load just right there.
Right.
And I don't have to ask for a load. And I think that is so awesome. She and he, they click with me. And it's like, I'm not sitting. When I used to haul a dry van, I would sit for hours, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours waiting for a load. One time I sat for 3 days. And I'm like, that's one of my pluses, is that I have a back-to-back load. They know when I'm about to be empty, they get me a load ready. And then like the other day, I had I picked up trucks, some Ford trucks. I had them all in the same row. And that was really awesome. But you know what? I don't think the dispatchers really know how far or how we have to go and hunt these things down, because they're not there with us. And so I don't think they actually know. And so I don't put it on them to try to figure out. I just got to look at my dispatch sheet and say, hey, I'm looking at where each bay is, try to park where that, try to park my rig right there. And then it makes it better.
Yeah. Yeah. But one thing we've done too with our dispatch is when we get that VIN list in, we can sort by bays. And so when we're dispatching, putting loads together, we try to make sure that those bays are as close together as they can be to save you some time. So those are things that, like Shane and I talk a little bit, it's almost like the dispatcher has to play linebacker a little bit. They've got to be in front of you and making sure they're clearing the path and staying in front of you so that next load is ready and not leaving you sit, because that downtime can be a killer. And, our goal is to make you money, and while you're making money, you're making the company money, and that's how the world goes around. So I think that's good to hear. Now, do you guys do any used car freight, any auction freight, or is it strictly new?
Midwestern was strictly new. When I started out to begin with, I did auction freight and went to California, all the Manheim and Odessa areas, California, Florida, New York, Philadelphia, all through there.
Right.
But yeah, so that first 4 or 5 months was the used cars. Now I've been with Midwestern since November.
Right. So speaking of used cars, and since you have experience with it, were there any things that you thought were frustrating with used cars picking up at auctions, or things that you felt like there wasn't enough support for maybe the auction staff?
Getting fuel, running out of gas
for the cars you're picking up. Yeah.
We were one time drove a van, and it all the gas just fell out of the bottom. And so they put more gas in it, and they found that the gas line was busted. The batteries weren't charged, couldn't get them started. So, I mean, you're driving all that way, and then boom, all of a sudden. So we had to learn how to carry a gas can, and also do the box that charges the batteries up. So we had to get one of those to start the cars. But yeah, those were real frustrating out there because we didn't know. You know, those were something. And then the hydraulics on the trailer too, on top of that, was really frustrating too, because we went all the way to California and had to come back not even fully loaded because of the cars weren't starting and we didn't have any gas that weekend. Right.
Yeah, that can be frustrating. And it seems like a lot of the auctions, they all have different rules, different hours, different services. And so, until you run specific auctions several times, it's a period of time to get to know all that. And there is a frustration factor. So I know there's a lot of drivers out there that prefer to do either all used or all new, or, it just depends if you're over the road, if you want to stay local, things like that. So I think one of my final questions for you, and then I'm going to open it up to the panel, see if they've got questions, is how do we attract, as an industry, how do we attract more women to the industry, whether they want to be drivers or dispatchers or even small business owners? What does it take to get more people interested in car hauling?
Before we got thrown into the car hauling part, doing the driving of the truck, we didn't know anything about car hauling.
Right.
And I'm thinking that maybe, and I discussed this with John, my boyfriend, and I said, what is your idea? And he came back with, and which I agree fully, is the fact that we need to do some recruiting. We need to start talking to some of these women. I talk to women out on the road, and they're like, yeah, maybe I might want to do that. But it is labor intensive. This job is, and some women just don't want to do it because it's so hard.
It is.
And they can't believe me being 58 years old and I'm doing it, just starting out to do this job, and I like it. That's because it is physical, and I'm not sitting behind the wheel for 10, 11 hours in a day. And that's just boring as all get out. And I think we just need to start talking to women, getting these women. Because, John and I, we've been thinking about starting our own business and doing, but, that's later on down the line. We need to learn this job first. But yeah, we need to start talking to these women to get them interested.
So Jay, if you and Ty are listening, I think a note I'm getting here is potentially having a car hauler training school for women that's geared, maybe for schedules and things like that, that we could maybe get Rachel and some of the other gals that we know in car hauling to come out and help them, maybe just talk to them, get them comfortable with the thought of being out there and prove to them that a woman can do it. I mean, I've had several women drivers that have worked for us in the past, and they hold their own. So I think, again, you've got to enjoy it. You've got to like the physical part of it versus just the driving part. Anything else, Rachel, you want to add?
No. I was really kind of nervous doing this to begin with, but you know what? I've never found a job that I like so much as this. And I'm not exactly sure why I like it. It's just that the feeling of accomplishment of getting that car on, strapped on, like the load I'm under right now, it felt really good to get it done in 2 hours. And I'm like, I set myself goals. And as each day goes on, I'm like, I didn't hit that goal today, but tomorrow is a new day. So yeah, it's challenging, and you can just set your goals and challenge every day. You might not make it that first day, but you know what? There's another day there's the next day or the next month.
Right.
But, and then as I'm doing this job, I don't know the pay structure, but I noticed that my pay is increasing. And so that even makes me, that's a good thing. And that even makes me happy, because the more loads I do, I don't know. And then I'm a people person. So the guys they're like, can you come next time, deliver next time? And I'm like, I don't know if I could do that next, but it makes me feel really good that these dealerships are really nice, and I think they get a kick
out of it, don't they? That's like a lady shows up with their cars.
Oh, you would not believe it. They're all standing around watching me do the hydraulics and backing them off the rack and taking them off the head rack. And I actually have an audience. One guy was filming me just the other day before yesterday. He was filming me. He's like, I got to send this to my mom. And I'm like, awesome. Wow. Yeah, it is. It's really a unique industry. And I just wish I could talk to more women to get interested in doing it.
Well, that is great to hear. And we wish you all the success on it. Now, does anybody else out there have some questions for her? What do we got?
I just want to say, I just applaud you, Rachel. I'm so proud of you. I just met you, but I'm so proud of you. And I mean, I go out there with my guys just to be on the road to get a feel for a day in the life of, so that when I come back to the office, I can, figure out how to make life for them a little easier. And there's nothing better than that experience of actually being out there, knowing what the challenges are, and coming back here and being able to like assess how to just make everything run smoothly from start to finish. And yes, it is labor intensive. So I applaud you for
Thank you.
doing what you do and being so enthusiastic about it. It's just so motivating and encouraging to see this panel of women here. And I'm excited to hear more.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Is that everything? We got her? Okay, Rachel, if you want to hang out in case you've got some more questions as we move forward, we're going to move on to dispatchers. Sure. And for that, we have Shanna Harris, we have Sue Cuthbertson, Jen Schultz, and Julissa Campusano are our next guests on here. Ladies, are you with me?
I'm here.
I hear somebody.
It's Julissa, that's me.
Julissa, okay, all right. Okay, Shanna, you with us?
I'm here too.
Okay, gotcha. Sue's here, yeah?
Yep.
All right. So with the dispatchers, it's kind of another group of questions that we have, and I think a lot of you probably have similar experiences, but I want to touch base first with Murphy Auto Transport Services, because I understand you guys have a little bit of a unique business model. I was reading a lot about you on your website today, and it sounds like that in addition to dispatchers, you are actually a dispatching service for several smaller companies. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes.
Okay, Sue?
Yeah. Well, I've been doing this for about 16 years. I've been in business for about 16 years. And I started out with just a 3-car hauler and a business partner. He came into my mom and dad's business and said, okay, we're going to start a business. And this is what we're going to do. Figure it out. So I figured it out.
All right.
And that's that was only about 4 or 5 years after Central Dispatch even started. I started in 2004. And I got my broker's license in 2005. So obviously things have changed quite a bit over the years. And so back in the day, we didn't have all the good stuff that we have now, like Super Dispatch and, that kind of stuff. It was all paper BOLs. It was, everything was manual.
Paper.
So as I started out with the one driver, and then he met drivers along the way, and I picked up drivers, and it was just me doing this. And then about, I want to say maybe 6-7 years down the road, I started hiring people and training people, and then, teaching them how to do what I do, and they work for me. And now I've got outside dispatchers as well that work outside of my office. And then I have several that work inside my office as well. And as we all know, if you're a dispatcher, if you're a broker, this is hard work. And it takes a lot of training to get it right so that you have a good reputation with your drivers, with the brokers, and that you can show that you know what you're doing and you do it right and you don't have damage claims and, stuff like that. Because, we're not just training dispatchers. We train a lot of our drivers as well, because we deal with a lot of brand new drivers that come into
Right.
and they don't know anything. So we're teaching them about their ELDs. We're teaching them how to load, how to get cars from Mannheim, how to write things on the back of the gate passes. And, we're training everybody.
Right.
And I really don't mind it, because that way I feel like they're going to get it done the way that it needs to be done, because I've been doing this so long. I know how brokers want things done. And because we've been in business for so long, a lot of the brokers know that this is what we do, that we're a dispatch service.
Right.
And a lot of times we get loads over other companies just because they know who we are.
Right.
So.
Right. So, and in reading a little bit about you today, do I understand that like some of these new businesses, new car hauling companies that want to get set up with a bigger broker, that you will kind of fast track their paperwork and get them set up and help them kind of bridge that gap. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, we set everybody up with the brokers as they are able to. As we know, there's certain brokers that require, a length of time or ratings or,
Gotcha.
things like that. So I actually have a list that I hand out to people that tells them, this is the link to go get set up. This is for other people that just contact me, by the way, but we do all this for our drivers. That's part of what we do. We also do their accounting. We call on all of their accounting. We make sure people get their BOLs, their invoices, what days they're going to come out. We're basically, what I call us is we are your office while you're on the road. You don't have to have a literal office. We are there for you. I mean, we go so far as finding, like, if we've got a driver broke down on the side of the road, we'll find them a place for the parts and we'll get a tow truck out to them. We kind of, try to help them as much as we can.
Right. So do you kind of operate then a little bit, I guess, a freight forwarder model to some extent? Are you actually finding the loads for those carriers as well as getting them signed up with brokers?
Oh yeah. By dispatching, I mean, we get the loads, we verify the loads, we put them in pickup and delivery order. We get by verification, I mean, we find out who they need to talk to, if they need to park a certain place to avoid a ticket. We give them the hours, make sure the car runs and drives, that kind of thing. We do it all. So basically all the driver really has to do is tell me when they want to go out and when they want to come home, and we just keep them moving until then.
Okay. Yeah. And for you guys listening in, that is a service unparalleled, unequaled to anything you'll find. If they're calling ahead and clearing the way and all you got to do is show up, that is worth its weight in gold. Because if you're out there and you're trying to book your unloads and you're trying to get set up with all the brokers and you're calling ahead and checking on gate passes and you're making sure the car runs, seeing if there's any restricted hours, that takes time, and it's huge. So that to have somebody back office doing all of this for you is just amazing. So, So what do you think makes, in addition to all those, what do you think makes a good dispatcher? I know Rachel talked about it a little bit, having that next load ready so they're not wasting time. What else makes a good dispatcher?
Oh yeah. Well, definitely organization. You have to multitask. When I'm hiring people, the first thing I ask them is, can you multitask? Because a lot of times I may be on the phone getting a load, texting another one for another load, maybe emailing for a certificate of insurance. And you have to keep it all organized at the same time, because each of my dispatchers have 4 to 5 drivers. And so you have to know where each driver is at. Every morning we come in and we send out a text and say, hey, good morning, just check and see what your ETA is to your first drop. I mean, our goal every day is to have them loaded for the next day. But as we all know, sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. So we always like to know where they're at so that we can make sure that we're going to get them loaded by the time they get there. And right now this is bizarre season. I can't even call it high season because the loads are just so crazy. I mean, I've never seen, except for last May, when we had 75,000 loads on the board, we're at 59. I looked it up this morning or this afternoon, we're at 59,000. And, usually this time of the year, we're at like 20,000. So it's just insane what's going on right now. And basically, in a way, transporters kind of have the upper hand because it's all about supply and demand. I mean, and if you can run dollar mile loads, you're going to take those over 50-cent loads any day of the week. And that's what we try to do. And there's certain areas, of course, in the United States that you want to go into to get those kind of loads. So we usually try to stay, my guys, I kind of keep in the Midwest, unless I've got an East Coast guy, then they run that area. I run them in the Midwest and then send them home. But I mean, that's basically what we do. We try to make sure that driver is loaded every single day with a full load until they're ready to go home.
Right. So what systems, I guess, or what processes do you use to manage lanes or drivers specifically so that logistically where their next load's coming from? I mean, do you have software that you're using? Or is this just somebody just has to be geographically savvy to know the area that
No,
they're managing?
exactly. Yes. And I mean, a lot of
All
it
of the above.
comes like when I'm training somebody, I know the areas I want to send people into because I know there's going to be loads there. And it's the same thing. I was talking to a trainee today, and I was explaining to her that, you know, I'm going to explain to you there's certain areas that you're going to go into and during the week, and then finally on that last day where you should end up being so you can send them home and make sure there's a full load. And some of that just comes from doing this for so long. And then as I train them, I'm telling them those areas. And I mean, I even have a map that we've got colored for certain states to stay out of and certain
Right.
states that these are money states because they call them green states, you know what I mean? And
Right.
it takes a lot of coordination and knowledge, and not just with where you're going to, with brokers too. There's, you know, there's good brokers, there's bad brokers, just like there's good transporters and there's bad transporters. And I have to train them about which ones to stay away from because their loads probably aren't going to be any good, or if there's double postings, what that
Right.
means, and you know, the likelihood if it's a double posting, if it's really any good, you know, that kind of thing. Or you could show up and the car's already been taken because
Yeah, 50,
the other
50
broker
odds.
gave it away, you know, and it's already been picked up. Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
a lot of it is just training.
Right. And then part of it, are you guys staying kind of tuned into market trends and kind of looking at the ebb and flow of things that are affecting production in the new car freight, or, you know, kind of a trickle down to used car and lease returns? Are you seeing some of that?
Me and Jay have been talking about this because, you know, of our show every week, and we just can't figure out where all of these cars are coming from truly. Because I also deal with a lot, because I'm a broker too, I deal with, you know, a lot of dealerships that I've been dealing with for years, and that it's like they can't find cars to buy, or if they're going to buy them, they're like $10,000 more than what they should be.
Right.
And what we've been running mainly this last few months when all these loads started coming back on, and actually it all happened right when that 2-week period of winter weather hit.
Yeah.
That's when all these loads started come on, which didn't make any sense either, right? They can't be making them, they can't be moving them, they can't be selling them, but it's been like this ever since then. I don't know, and really where, you know, how to say it's happening, but I know we're moving a lot of new ones, but I'm also moving a lot of used ones. So we pick up from IA, we pick up from Copart, we pick up from dealerships, and we pick up from residences. If I was going to say the percentage of auctions to dealerships, I would say they're probably on the same level, you know, like Mannheims and Odessas and dealers, we're probably picking them up at least 50% of the time. And then the rest would probably be split between residential and Copart and IA. So I mean, unless you know something I don't know, I have no idea either
You
why
know,
this is
it's
happening.
anybody's guess, because you know, in the last 2 days, I've had 3 of my dealers call me asking, you know, where's the freight at? Where do we need to be buying? Where's the pool? And I'm like, I can't answer that for you. It's just such a volatile market right now, and the prices are crazy. So, you know, in some aspects, I think they just need to button down and pull the trigger and buy that car, and they're just going to have to remarket it. You know, their competition is going to be in the same boat. So, but yeah, the loads and loads of cars are from the used side, at least, are slower than what we're seeing, or what we would traditionally see this time of year. So, so some of those things, I don't know. It's interesting, but yeah. And a lot of it, and this will tie into the next segment, is the remarketing, the repossessions, those kinds of things, lease returns. I think some of those are playing into it right now. But where those are landing, if the distribution center is reconning those and sending them back into the auctions, it's hard to tell where they're going. But anyway, so that's a piece of it. So I'm going to move on to Shanna Harris. I've got a very good question for Shanna, and I think she can speak to this a little bit. So hang tight with us, Sue. We'll have some more coming back. Shanna, you there?
Okay.
Shanna? Okay, maybe we got technical difficulties. So I guess we'll throw this out. Is Jen and Julissa on the phone?
I'm right here. It's still
Okay. All right, Julissa, I'm going to ask you this question, then maybe you can get to it. So how does your job change if you're handling OEM or new car freight versus used or auction freight? What are the differences that you see and feel?
You know, I'm actually going to, I'll probably defer that question more to Sue, because I don't know what challenges I would find with the new car. I couldn't tell you right now. I don't know.
Okay, so I'll switch and give you a different question
Give
then,
it to
okay?
me, yeah.
Okay, so then this is a fun one. What do you wish you'd known more about before you started in this position?
This is a good one. This one I can answer very well. I think I would have to say a lot of extra time management. And it's not that it's where there wasn't any before. It was probably, it's just how much more important it is right now. Also a lot of patience, both with, with the brokers, with getting your loads, with, handling playing the different roles at the same time.
Right.
And being able to make sure that your driver, that the carrier is on the road doing what they need to do. So as Sue did say before, there's different pieces that our service provides, whether it be the accounting, it be, the getting the loads, communicating with the driver. Also, good communication is very important. I would say it's very useful. It's a very useful tool. And there's just a conglomerate of things that I'd say that I'm glad that I had coming in, but that are so much more useful now that you see, now that I'm actually employing a lot of these different, like I said, patience and communication.
Right. And do you find that you have set hours, or do you have to be available when your drivers need you to be?
I would say that it's very important to be available when your driver needs you to be, but there also needs to be a balance, because there's so many other things that, and here goes here's the I want to say, as a mom, because I'm a mom,
right?
I have a son, and then I'm also the breadwinner. So it's like it's having to. You want to make sure that your driver is doing everything that he needs to do, and you want to be that person, that support person for your driver. But then you also have to balance out, well, okay, I have school, I have my son. So
right. But it's important. You've got to find that balance to be a mom and run the household and be a mom to the drivers and run what they need done too. But and I think that's something that they need to understand too is, they're going to hit bumps and hurdles that you can't always fix. There's things that even if they called you, you can't fix it for them. So does it matter if they call you tonight, or can they wait till morning so that you've got that separation? And I think sometimes as a dispatcher, those are some of the frustrations, is you get that constant barrage of neediness, whether it's at home or from your drivers, and you want to solve everything. But at some point in time, like you said, there's got to be some boundaries so that you can breathe. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. Can I just add also that I think a lot of the times what happens is that if we don't communicate those things at the beginning of the working relationship, when you hi, I'm Julissa, I'm going to be your dispatcher, and you kind of set those boundaries beforehand, it's not that you're going to not be available ever, because emergencies do happen. They're on the road when you're home, having dinner. But I think that if you're able to handle if you're able to take care of a lot of the things effectively during your business hours that you set forth, then they'll be as prepared as this is. I'm speaking in practice, right? My experience.
Right. Yep.
So I would say that if you employ those things during the business day, then I would say that they're going to need you less and less. And even though some drivers can, perhaps not be too savvy with certain things.
Right.
Right.
I hear you.
You know what I mean? So, but still, even then, you try to kind of know and this is one thing that I think you were talking about before that I wanted to kind of say you have to know your driver. You have to
Right.
know who it is that you're working with. So sometimes some, you know, have their different traits and different things that you already know going in. So you prepare for that ahead of time. And again, time management, I think.
Yep, I totally agree. And I think that's it, is just getting your day laid out and knowing what you need to have accomplished by the time you want to go home, so that the driver is handled, gate passes are out if they need to be, cars are available for pickup,
Right.
you know, cars staged if you have a car puller that you're accessible to. And those things, especially when you're working auction freight, is so much more important to get in front of those things. There's nothing worse than the driver goes in and finds out his load isn't paid for, because the auctions have changed a lot of how they're doing those things right now. So it's important to know that, well, this Mannheim is this way, but that doesn't mean it's Mannheim nationwide, because every auction is going to be managed differently. And so those are the things that we're figuring out. Just because this Mannheim does it this way doesn't mean the rest of them follow that.
Right.
And so getting familiar with your market areas and kind of knowing what the expectations are at those locations is really critical to a successful day for the driver. So I don't know that I have more questions for you. Does anybody else in the panel have some more questions for the dispatch team, as far as things that are done daily, or things that you would like to understand more about?
I had a question for Sue, if she's still on.
I'm here, Kandy.
Hey, how you doing? Hey. Okay, I wrote this one down.
Okay, how about you?
Pretty good, thank you.
Okay.
So Sue, how do you maintain the integrity of your business as a broker and a dispatch service with other companies that may feel intimidated about your company being a broker and a dispatch service? How do you handle that?
Well, I would say in the beginning it was a little bit harder, because I think some brokers may think I'm going to steal their clients. I think that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, basically.
I think over the years I've proven myself that I do not do that. In fact, I almost threaten my drivers, don't ever go in and ask for their information and, you know, say, hey, I'll haul your car for it, because it has happened. And then I have to chew butt, because I'm like, don't do that. That's not cool. And I'm not about that. So, and I'm not your typical broker either. So I don't consider myself a competition for the people that we work with in that sense, because I don't solicit and I do not pay for names. I don't do U-ship. All of my customers have come, I think we call it organically, from over the years of my name getting handed off to the next person, the next person, the next person. And it wasn't through drivers. Yeah. So I think over the years, I think most of the brokers that know me, like Metrogistics and stuff like that, they know what I do, but because it's never been an issue, so far it's been fine. So, and I just don't cross that line. I try to be, as honest as I can. And with brokers, with drivers, with everybody. And I think that's helped me stay in business for as long as I have.
Thank you. I think that's really important. We talked a couple weeks ago about integrity in this industry and how important it was to the reputation of the carriers and the brokers, and being able to be that person. I mean, I've had the calls from dealers before when I've taken a load from a broker, and they'll call me, hey, well, it's on your VOL. Can I just call you direct next time? And no, I'm sorry, you cannot. Just call your carrier and they'll pass it on to me if it's in my market. So it's really important that you don't step on those toes, because that one client is not going to make up the revenue that you could have generated with that company had you not stepped on the toes. So, yeah.
And the potential relationship.
What's that?
And the potential relationship that you sabotage. If you're playing this game, if you're in this business, and you're going to be around for a while, it's going to come a moment where that circle comes around and they're going to remember a small broker, big broker. So.
Absolutely.
I agree.
More questions for dispatchers? For anybody yet so far?
I mean, I might have a little bit of a question.
Okay.
I might be the odd woman out here.
No.
Don't hate me. I own a collateral recovery company.
Right.
And I'm really here because I want to listen to you ladies, and I want to be able to bridge that gap between our transporters. And I don't know any of you, but I don't know what percentage of your business either comes from recovery companies. But I understand that in my industry, there has been some frustration between transporters and recovery companies. And so I'm really here, and thank you. I'm very honored that y'all invited me, even though I'm kind of the bad guy.
We're glad you came. Actually, no, this is about building relationships,
yes,
right?
100%. So that's what I'm into.
Absolutely.
I do a lot of industry outreach, I guess you could call it, in our own industry. And I think that I wanted to be here to listen to you ladies so I can bridge that gap, right? I would much rather our ecosystem works very well instead of, poorly. So I want to learn how, as recovery agent or agencies, we can have a better relationship with our transporters. So as far as dispatch goes, what can we do? I mean, we're already using tools like Clear Data and, giving you guys the ability to upload your bill of ladings and set these appointments electronically and verify everything electronically. But we want to make that relationship more seamless because, that's one less frustration that we both have to have at the end of the day. And I think we can agree in both of our industries, we have enough drama to deal with than to have drama between each other.
Sure. Okay, well, let's fast track this. And I'm going to bring LuAnn Garofalo on with you because she's also in recovery. This is Bryanna Cox with Asset Resolutions.
Hi, Bryanna.
So I've got a couple of things that I would like to just throw out. And this is not, I've never worked with either of you ladies, so this is no reflection on your companies, but as the repossessive market, and this is speaking from my carrier side, not my broker side, okay, because we run 3 different business models. But from my carrier side, we used to do a lot of the lease returns or repossessions that happened in the markets, but we pick them up for the auctions. They were assigned to us, and then we would have to call and give notice. And what we noticed over time is that the yards that we were working with the hours would change. You could only pick up from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. And I'm telling you, from a trucking company standpoint, that's really hard to make that nut. The other thing is you have to give a 24-hour notice, but we don't take them on Mondays and we don't take them on Fridays. And if you're half an hour late on your Tuesday appointment, you got to start all over again. And on the other side, you got the auction beating your door down. Why isn't that here yet? And it's like, you just don't understand how hard it is to make that appointment and actually get there during that little tiny window. And it was a huge frustration. In fact, in our business model, we finally just stepped away from it entirely because I couldn't deal with the frustration of the pushback from the drivers because they felt like they were wasting so much time. And so I don't know if it's changed because that was about 3 years ago that we stepped back away from that market, but that's just my experience with it. Julissa, you were nodding. I think you're feeling some of that too. That's been my experience and it hasn't been pleasant. I'm hoping that's maybe with technology, that's changing some, that the appointments aren't as hard to get a hold of somebody and get set. So I don't know.
It's always a backup and it can ruin your whole day. So we've also stepped away from it now. We're doing more auction transport through one, a specific company that gives us a lot of business we take from them.
Gotcha.
We do also find that sometimes when we show up, even with them knowing that we're coming, we still have to call the dealerships. They don't let us pick up on Saturdays. Jersey's a blue state, so we don't do Sunday work.
Right.
And then if something at the first, that first pickup, they can't find the keys or the car's not at this lot, it's 20 minutes down the road. Well, there's our trickle down effect. Mm-hmm. And there goes the whole day with us disappointing someone waiting today that now we have to start with tomorrow, and that rolls into tomorrow's logistics. Mm-hmm. So that's why we've moved away from
a lot of the Mannheims, and because the pay wasn't as well as some of the other auction houses that we've been using, and the relationships that we've built with the mom pop shops, the buy here, pay here, that Ty has really educated us on building business with. And I have to say, honestly, our business has been more prosperous and our time has been used more efficiently since we had to move away from that market.
Right. And one thing I would say, you know, and this goes back into the 80s when we had our used car lots, we did a lot of repossessions ourselves. So I get from a repo agent standpoint, they're trying to go out at night and repossess the cars. They're trying to run the yard. They're trying to do inventory so that they're not getting sued by the client. They're trying to do condition reports to get them ready for the auction. So their hands are kind of full too. And I feel like a lot of the squeeze comes in the fact that they're not getting paid well enough on some of those services to offset. Maybe they need another clerk in the office or something that can do some of that work.
It sounds like you might have had my job before me, because I said it sounds like you might have had my job before me, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but
no.
As an industry, you know, we've made a lot of progress, and we have begun working together to try to shed that, you know, old stigma that we face. We are a bunch of young professionals for the majority now, right? And again, it's all about education, just like what you guys are doing now with your transport panel.
Sure.
And again, I'm not going to make excuses, but our companies are very expensive to run, and we are sometimes, I love you, clients, underpaid.
Right.
And we do have to do those services like personal property for free, right? So on average with our company, with 2 locations, personal property can cost my company between $11,000 and $17,000 a month, depending on our volume. And this is not a service that I receive any revenue for, because I'm mandated by the state to, you know, inventory, store, and properly dispose of and release personal property. And so those things do tend to like hold us up, because if, you know, we're waiting on cutting a key, or if we're, you know, we do COVID holds now, obviously, because we have to get in. And I'm telling you, girls, some people keep some strange things in their vehicles. Okay. Like
I'm there with you.
It can be bad. And so, you know, now we're doing COVID holds, and then we get
want to be in
bio or drugs or weapons. And it takes a little bit longer to process those vehicles. And we try to, my company at least tries to have a good relationship with our transporters, and we use tools. We've been on Jay's show before, talking about clear data and how we can simplify things and make them digital and make them contact free. And we also have a staging area where we move all of the cars for the transporters away from our collateral so they can come in and, you know, drag. Right. But when one of them missed their appointment, that's where we also come into our frustrations, right? Because I require a site entry agreement, you know, per Texas state law. It's $300,000 in incidentals, right? I can't request more than that, but I also request a COI. So I'm like, okay, if it's your first time to make an appointment, I need this site entry agreement signed, and I need a COI. The same way that I provide my clients a COI with them as a secondary insured. And that's where we get into power struggles too. Or, okay, we've accepted this, but now make your appointment digitally. Like, you can just go in and put in the last 6 of the VIN right on our website, and you can upload your bill of lading right there. And then we still have guys that show up and they're like, well, I mean, I didn't upload it. Can I get my appointment? And I'm like, well, no, because I didn't stage your cars. So there's that. We're trying to fix that. Let's make this straightforward, communicative, show up for your appointments. We will stage your cars. We will make sure everything is ready for you. Your keys are, you know, tagged to the steering wheel. Everything is labeled, ready to go. Our pictures are done. You can just come in, sign your paperwork on the iPad, and get out of here. So that's what we're working on. But again, we still have companies that make these appointments that they don't, you know, do their part either. So I think it's a double sword for both of us.
Yeah. And I think a lot of carriers, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm saying this, I just had an experience today.
Okay.
So we had drivers go to IAA, and typically it's one of those things. You have to have an appointment, you have to have your titles, you have to have like all of these things. And so back to what the dispatchers were saying, if I see that if the dispatchers assist in helping the drivers get all of that administrative work done and taken care of, where all you have to do is show up and pick up the car, then that's a smooth transition. We had that situation happen today, and it took literally maybe 25 minutes. So we were in, we were out, but we had to contact the broker because there was some of that information we hadn't received. Luckily, they electronically sent everything to us fairly quickly, so we were able to, otherwise we were just going to leave, because again, it is a domino effect that bleeds into every other load that you have afterwards. So we gave it 15 minutes, and if it didn't get done in 15 minutes, we're out of here. But, having that A to Z kind of connection where if you're getting it from the broker, the conversation with the broker, is it operable? Is it drivable? Is it going to be forklifted on? Getting all of those logistics before you even accept the load to see if you even have the capacity to do something like that, the time to do something like that, and making that executive decision, yes, I'll take it, no, I won't take it, and then communicate that to the driver. So it's just this constant communication from the moment you speak to the driver, the broker, everybody setting it up and getting everything done, that I think would make that process smoother. But then, okay, you go to your appointment and, oh my God, I caught a flat on the way. There goes my appointment. So true. Those are things that you can't even expect is going to happen. You're like, yeah, everything's going great, but boom, you got a flat. Damn it, now I have to wait till Thursday to go ahead and do this load, and there we go again. So there's things that, we try to focus on the things that are within our control, the early part of it, setting it up, and then pray to God that, we don't catch a flat, we don't lose a ramp or whatever, on the way, and we make those appointments. But, it's something that, would I rather go to a company that has a lot of business but pays a little lower, and it has a lot of more hurdles to climb, or opt to a dealer to dealer or dealer to private residence, that type of transaction that pays a little more and you can be more consistent. But I echo with Sue, it is a 50-50 split. You have 50, well, from my experience, I see 50% of the loads are, brokers and dealers and auctions, and then there's 50% of the loads that are, recovery and stuff like that. So you can't be too picky and choosy with where you're going, because there's a lot there. But that's just my 2 cents.
Well, and I think ultimately you touched on the most important thing. Communication is key, right? Like, I'm not going to charge a fee to a transporter who communicates with me. Hey, I don't have an appointment for 3 hours, but I got a flat, and my support isn't going to be able to service me for an hour and a half. Can I reschedule my appointment? Then I'm going to be like, cool, bro. Like, I'm going to do it right now. Instead of like, oh, well, I'm just not going to call. And then, then like they reschedule their appointment on ClearData. And I'm like, well, I'm going to deny this appointment because now you've acquired a fee for a missed appointment because I had to move your vehicles for you twice. And yes, not all recovery companies, stage collateral for transporters or whatever, but I'm really big on working together with my own industry and just working smarter, not harder. I'm just, if I can avoid a fight during the day, let's do it, because I'm already the bad guy. Everybody hates me.
I wore that hat. And there's a lot of times that, things are out of your control too. We get dispatched, or formerly would get dispatched cars that you didn't even have releases on yet, or the recovery agent didn't. Because the replevin laws are different in every state. And so how long that car has to sit for the potential redemption. And if that period isn't up, and sometimes the auctions jump the gun and they dispatch it to you anyway, and then you send the truck in and it's like, oh, sorry, it's not ready to go yet. Well, that's not on you, it's not on me, but maybe some more communication on that, would help simplify those things. But again, the replevin laws, and you're very familiar with that, once you repossess them and you take them and all the things you have to do after that, I don't think the typical driver understands what all goes into that. So,
well, we're
a repossession agent.
But
yeah.
The post repo process is very, very regulated, and some states are worse than others, but it's an intensive process for what we have to do from hook to delivery, right? And it is sometimes that's what makes it harder for us to approve or deny. And even sometimes we'll make an appointment, and then before we even get the chance to go to clear data and and reschedule it or let the transporter know, hey, you already made this appointment, but it just went on redemption hold.
Right.
And so, it's very much like a consumer lien holder situation versus like, the auction and the transporters are like secondary to that.
Right.
And if I can just chime in.
Go ahead.
If I can just chime in, like something, Bryanna, that you said, the communication. I think when I was dispatching, I had a lot of drivers who said, don't even send me to a recovery, because like Julie, like what you said, the limitations in terms of what you had to do, when you had to schedule it, when you were able, when they would shut the gate, if you were there on a Saturday, what they would charge. I think it was frustrating for them, and they just would be like, you know what, I'd rather pick up any place else. But Bryanna, I can't even imagine, like, just listening to you, all the stuff that you have to do, like what you said, from hook to release. Was that the term?
Yeah.
So I think what you said was key, the communication and the flexibility. When you said, if you communicate to me that, hey, you got a flat, or I can't make it, can you work with me? I've had like asset places that are so nice, and they're like, okay, sure, we'll work with you. Okay, let's do this. All right, just call me like half an hour before. So I think it's the flexibility from both ends and the communication that will help it. And I know with COVID now everything's
and it's just a mutual respect, right? Like, we're both business owners. Instead of doing this, let's figure out a way. Like, I mean, I don't need my staff to come in my office and be like, hey, can you deal with this transporter issue? Like that, there shouldn't even be a transporter issue, because we should have that open calendar, that all of the information digital. I mean, come on, we're in the information age. We have no excuse. Like, I don't need you to send me a smoke signal. Like, I need to know that it's on this calendar and I got your paperwork and we're ready to go. And I've done my responsibility of, making sure that the personal property is cleaned out and that the key is cut, and that any information I get from the lien holder or the client is available to you should that change, and vice versa. And so we actually have at my company, my husband and my company, a pretty peaceful ecosystem with our transporters. And we do that. Like, if a transporter calls and they're very loyal and they come to their appointment every week, and, they're picking up, dozens and dozens of cars from us every week. Hey, I got stuck in traffic. I got a flat. Is there any way someone can stay so I can just, pick up these cars after hours so you guys don't have to remove them? Hell yeah. I will make sure someone stays there and release cars to you, because I don't want to have to move everything around again tomorrow. So it really is just creating that open line of communication. And I mean, come on, I'm sure our industry, we have enough fights to keep us busy. I think between us, we can bridge that gap so that we don't have to have those frustrations, because let's be honest, I mean, I'm sure a huge percentage of your industry is moving out cars from a huge percentage of our industry.
Yeah. I mean, I know before, and I haven't for like about a year and a half, I haven't, done the recoveries with any drivers, but I know some were 24 hours notice, right? Is that still going on? If so, maybe there could be flexibility there, because sometimes they'll post a car, right? It'll be for a Friday.
Oh, that's my bitch.
So it really depends on the companies, ladies. And let's, to be completely honest with you, not making excuses. our industry is fractured and it's been damaged by predatory practices, right? And so some companies are small, especially after 2020. We're looking at companies that are trying to make up ridiculous margins that they've lost if they're even still open. So many companies have shuttered their doors, which has flooded other companies that weren't prepared for it, even, you know, at a lower volume rate with business. And so we're kind of learning as we go here too. And, you know, some companies can't afford the payroll, the staff to be open, you know, to do transport 5 days a week. Our company does transports Tuesday through Friday, right? And Monday is kind of like our get our stuff together day and get organized. But not all companies are able to do that. And when we were a very young company, we did do transports on Monday, Wednesday, Friday from like 10 to 3. And so, and a lot of companies have those demands, but I would say just open that line of communication, especially as a dispatcher, and say, hey, tell me your struggles. How can we work together? Let's figure this out. I understand your hours are restrictive. How can I make it easier for you? And you can make it easier for me because, you know, even obviously if you're a smaller company, you have a smaller lot. Let's move those cars out faster. Let's be friends instead of foes. I think it would benefit us. So again, if you have those frustrations, most of us repo people are A-type personalities and we're blunt and just say, hey, this isn't working. What the hell do we got to do to make it work?
Mm-hmm. And I think too, drivers, you know, sometimes the drivers' attitudes when they come in can make or break that relationship because you guys are already dealing with cranky clients that have been repossessed from, and they're coming in and making threats and demands, and you know, you get your back up against that, and then you have a driver that walks in with the same kind of attitude. Doesn't make your day any easier.
So. Yeah, I mean, I got to deal with enough people who don't like me. I definitely prefer that you ladies like me.
But may I just say just one thing before when we get going here? But I just wanted to say, and it kind of goes with your question, Julie, that you asked earlier that I just deferred over in hopes that somebody else would answer it. But here with your used car versus your new car situation, the recovery process and everything that's going on with it, and that is one of the challenges that I find in this industry in my day-to-day. I mean, the rigidity that there is with the recovery process. I mean, I wish there were a way to streamline the communication between the actual, again, here goes the term, right? Hook. And you know, to what is it? Delivery.
Hook to delivery, yeah.
Yeah, hook to delivery.
Or hook to release, right? Rather you're
hook to release. So, but the thing is, it's so rigid. And yes, a lot of people touched on a lot of different key terms and phrases that all go together beautifully. There's a domino effect. So one piece of the puzzle that just goes off. I mean, we're working on time. We're working on more people, you know, more deliveries. So the driver just does not have just one vehicle. There's multiple vehicles that are involved here, multiple customers at the same time, multiple, you know, different routes and stuff like that. And it takes a lot of planning. So when the driver shows up and it's like, nope, it's only 9 to 12, got here 9:05. Sorry, can't help you. What?
I'm telling you, girls, that are you ladies, you wonderful women. This we've been on this show before. I was on this show with a colleague of mine, Jordan. He and some of his colleagues invented a program called Clear Plan, which we use for like our mapping program. But in coordination with that, they invented Clear Data, and that's what we use at our company. And it makes it that seamless process because it's all digital. You know, you can go to our website and the pop-up, right? When you get to our website says, do you need to book an appointment, transport, personal property, redemption, right? And so you have the last 6 of the VIN, you can upload all your paperwork right there. We do every verification through email. Send me a list of 25 cars. I'll tell you if it runs, drives, has keys, on redemption hold, whatever you need to know. And so our transport process works much better through that. And I have been kind of preaching to the choir on this, but make sure your recovery companies that you're scheduling your loads from are utilizing Clear Data to its fullest potential because it's a game changer. You were talking about time management, organization. It's all of those things, all of it.
Wonderful. That sounds like that might have really simplified things, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a game changer. It's made it even easier when we have to deal with those debtors and, for redemptions or personal property releases. It makes our and then I'm nicer and
so we can have a cocktail.
I'm so glad that there's this platform, Julie and the rest of the ladies that can kind of, that can just come in and kind of, because otherwise you probably wouldn't have heard that, the how rigid it is to get a recovery. And that's probably why a lot of companies just want to stick to, I think Midwestern, Rachel said that only does new cars because this doesn't happen with the new car situations.
Right. Well, not on that scale, but it happens occasionally.
Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, okay, any more questions for Bryanna before we move?
I have a question. I know that you touched a little bit on COVID and what the effects were for your industry. And I just wondered if you could kind of elaborate that on a little bit, because we've seen that even though it's been allowed for banks to start repossessing, there are some that don't want to be the first to repossess. So how is that affecting the industry? And I've known a lot of people in that industry, and it has really, really been a struggle to just stay afloat. And you don't know what you don't know, and so I have to tell everybody on this panel that wow, you guys do an amazing job, and you are some badasses, because there are some things that you do that, Rachel, I don't know how you put those cars on that truck. That's amazing. And it's interesting that when you're in your own little world and you know all the problems that you have, but you can't really see everybody else's. So it's great to have a forum like this so we can kind of exchange ideas and let each other know that we have these frustrations and we're all having them in our own type of way. And so how do we bridge the gap? How do we make it less fragmented? But I'd like Bryanna, for you to maybe answer a little bit about the COVID situation and how that's affected the industry so that we can understand that frustration as well a little bit better.
Obviously, there wasn't a lot of standardization across the states, right? Some states, super blue states like Massachusetts, instantly shut down. Us in Texas, we have the TOCCC here, which is like the Texas Office of Credit Consumer Commissioner, which they basically issued a recommendation to us that said, we're not going to tell you can't, but we're going to say you probably shouldn't. And that lasted for about 160 days. So we had clients, obviously, prime lenders that were very hesitant to assign repos, right? And so we did kind of have to figure that out. And honestly, those who survived are very strong and probably had their ducks in a row, or maybe a few got very, very lucky, but it was incredibly difficult during COVID. But I will say, for the very first time, our industry kind of came together, and that's why we're doing things like this now, right? We're trying to streamline those processes from hook to release, to bridge that gap, because we understand that we have a bad stigma to shed, and probably part of that will never be able to shed, as we are considered basically a predatory practice. But it was scary during COVID. I mean, between some of the states like California, Texas, I mean, we're a super red state, and we definitely didn't expect a recommendation to basically shut us down for almost 160 days. They released that recommendation on Halloween. And so we all kind of celebrated, but most of us are still at like 40% to 60% of our volume. And so we did have a lot of prime and, clients step up and offer, once we were able to start doing those recoveries, additional fees, because we had to invest in additional fees. And again, I've told you ladies earlier that personal property collection and inventory and storage is not something that we make revenue off of, but we had to add an extra layer of protection. And personal property has always freaked me out a little bit, because my guys that are out there, that I'm paying them to collect this stuff, who's to say they're not going to touch some fentanyl or stick themselves with a needle, right? And now I have another thing to worry about that's invisible. So, we had to invest in foggers for the car. We had to create, complete new, not only from our, obviously we have hurricanes here in Houston, so we have pretty effective and detailed disaster plans, but now we had to create an additional disaster plan for COVID. And we had to create, fund additional expenses to, store these cars for longer because we have to take 24 to 48 hours to clean them out. And then we have to sanitize them and, extra gloves and masks just for all the employees and figure out how to separate all of our employees so they have their own working area. It was definitely a challenge. And I'm not going to lie that, we're still learning now based on the scientific data that's coming down, based on, the market, how much, supplies we have to buy versus how many repos we're doing. So every single day that's still changing. And it's been an incredible burden, but also an incredible learning experience. And I think those companies that were able to adapt and overcome those obstacles are going to be the ones that survive and continue this path of creating better relationships and ecosystems within all of our network, right? From the lenders to the service providers to the transporters and so on.
I think you hit the nail right on the head. It's the companies that have been able to evolve and adapt and pivot and kind of do exactly what we're doing here, communicate a little better with each other. And you mentioned clear data. I mean, we're all moving towards a more digital world. And I see that, this panel here is really paying for that, because while everybody else is home swiping and clicking, you're out there doing the real work, the hard work, the physical work. You're dealing with the actual physical asset. And it's very interesting that, that's how we're going to make it to the next stage, is by adapting and trying to not have all of our businesses siloed and fragmented. We're all part of the ecosystem. We're all part of the life cycle of the vehicle. And we have to kind of see each other as part of that family. So I'm just super impressed by everybody on this panel. I really feel like the outlier because I don't deal too much with the truck itself. I just want the car to get to where it's going quickly. And then I want, when it's sold, for somebody to pick it up quickly. And, I know that there's more going on behind that, but I haven't really delved into it. So this has been very enlightening and interesting to me. So I just want to thank all you ladies for that.
Well, Michele, while you're on, why don't you tell us a little bit about what your business model is and what services you provide in the transport industry?
Well, we provide more of a property solution. So what we have is we have properties all across the country that we provide a support for, just exactly what is happening in the country right now, which is digital transactions. So in any vertical, so vehicles that are new that need to come and be grounded and prepped to go into fleets, or vehicles in between auctions, or vehicles that are being staged for virtual auctions, or vehicles that are being cared for in between rideshare, car share. So we're the support property and service location for vehicles during their life cycle, after their life cycle, and we're creating mobility hubs across the country. So at this point, we're parking, storing, and staging ICE vehicles, combustion vehicles. Our vision and our goal, though, is to move towards EV and electrification and provide locations to support EV and eventually AV. So that's kind of a question I'd like to ask those that do the transporting is, EVs, they're here, you must be transporting some. How is that different? They're heavier, right? I mean, and maybe Rachel, you could answer that. Have you transported any electric vehicles, and is it different than the combustion vehicle you're used to getting on your truck?
The new Cadias, I've learned, are the one that have the batteries in the back, and yes, they are much heavier. I can feel and we're not loading the full 9 on the rack. We're having to load just 8, and so yeah, they're. And I notice a difference because sometimes I'll do the ones with the batteries and ones without the batteries, and so it's a
game
big
changer,
difference.
right? It's a game changer.
Yeah.
So we see it happening everywhere. So the whole ecosystem is going to change. It's heading in that direction. We see with the new president that we have that it's coming down the pike. So so I think that's something that we're all going to have to work together on managing. And who knows, 10 years down the road, maybe these cars will be delivering themselves. So how are we going to make sure that we're gainfully employed at that point when that's all happening? So
Right.
It's a very
And from a-
interesting time that we're in.
Yep. And from a business standpoint, talking about the EVs and them being heavier and having to reduce your load factor, there's going to have to be a consideration across the industry for higher prices per units when we're shipping those, because they're still going to max out the truck weight, and since we get paid by the piece, there's always a consideration for that. So, whether it's through the bid practice on the OEM freight or if it's used freight, those are things that somebody new to this industry will need to keep in mind as these cars get heavier. And the things to keep in mind, it affects your load factor. Later, I think on the last finished vehicle logistics, they were anticipating, I think it was by 2022, and don't quote me on this because I'm scratching my brain here, but I think there was going to be 18 different models of fully electric vehicles being manufactured that would potentially have to have some modifications to the trailers because of if the battery goes dead, what do you do? Things like that. So there's a lot of considerations to how you manage those newer pieces. And I'm sure there'll be more information forthcoming on that. Just a different world as we keep moving forward.
Evolution.
There you go. So, all right. So, questions about how you develop market share. This is for everybody. And these are just some thoughts to wrap up and for the people listening in. If you're looking at maintaining or growing your market share, what are some critical factors that you have to be aware of, embrace, or develop?
Well, from my standpoint of it, we're still a small business. It's still my husband and I, and we're looking for that perfect driver. We've gone through so many of them already, but we are the front line. So it's earning the trust. It is being there, even if you're a large business. I think you still need to get your hands dirty in this industry. Let the people that you're servicing see who you are, hear who you are, know who you are, and it keeps building your reputation. And that is how we're growing. I think we're back into the keep it simple, stupid mode. We're in the KISS mode again because it seems to be more profitable when you keep it simple, stupid. So KISS always works. And we're still reinventing ourselves. And I think with the way they're still reinventing the wheel now, you're talking about electric cars and having to address COVID, that I think the main thing is to continue, even as you grow, to be a face of your own company, to just let whoever you're dealing with hear your voice and know who you are. And no matter who you put out there on your trucks, that you are still responsible for your business and the face of your business. Right. That's really, integrity is really important.
Absolutely. And like Catherine says, serve coffee, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
donuts.
Being in South Florida, and I only know about this area and how things are, and then learning more as I've spoken with Ty, and I've participated and watched a lot of the ATI shows. It's just been a wealth of knowledge, but it is simple if you follow it, having that integrity, definitely building these relationships. Even if they say no the first few times, it's okay. It's just know those first few times, eventually they're going to call you. And it's not only about moving the cars. Yeah, that's what we do. But at the end of the day, it's establishing these relationships with dealers, brokers, even people at the gas station. Sometimes people break down on the side of the road, and where do they pull into? A gas station. So, right. Just networking everywhere. We are, everywhere we go, we're talking about who we are, what services it that we provide, not what we do, but here's our service. How can we serve our community? We're trying to dominate where we reside, and we're trying to make that name. And so putting, having uniforms and putting our name out there and having it on our vehicles and presenting, even if today, a perfect example, we had a situation, we had a client just call us out of nowhere. It was a referral. Who's this guy? He has a full load. Meet me today. Okay, great. I went over there to the dealership and met him there. My driver should be here in about 15 minutes. The truck pulls up. I've already had 15 minutes of conversation with this guy. He introduces me to the general manager at the dealerships. Bam, I get his business card. Oh, you know so-and-so? Yeah. Do you need anything transported later on this week? No, but check in with me next week. And guess what? Next week I'm going to be there. Hey, how's it going? And just, I drive all around town. We go from 3 different counties here in South Florida, and networking is critical. From our driver, the face of our driver, how he represents us when he gets there, following up, sending them pictures, sending them thank yous. Thank you for your business. If you ever need another car transported or what have you, let us know. And if we fail to fulfill our responsibility that day because of a flat or some unforeseen circumstance, hey, you know what? Let me take care of you. I'll half off on the next load or whatever, just to maintain and those relationships intact. And eventually, they keep calling, but building that takes time, patience, tenacity, perseverance, all of those things that you just have. You got to wake up and want it. And just like Rachel says, she enjoys this. If you don't enjoy this, then this is not for you. Don't force yourself to do it, because you're not going to be happy at the end of the day. So
yes. It's definitely work. It keeps me
yes, it is.
There's so many aspects to it too, from booking the loads, making sure your logistics works out, making sure that your billing is done, making sure that your equipment is up to standard, that everything, there are tires and the def is put in and you're not ready for an oil change, because anything that takes you off the road is very costly. Keeping up with repairs and things like that. So it's not a business for the faint at heart, but I think bringing females into the business, it kind of maybe needs our touch to take off the edge. And when I walk in, people are like, you came off that truck? I'm like, yeah, I did. I'm an old lady and here I am. And, it's just.
No, you're not.
The thing is that sometimes my phone rings and I don't even have the capacity to satisfy the calls that are coming in. And I've basically, going to the auctions, I've made relationships with carriers whereby if I can't make it happen, let me call somebody to see if they can, make it happen for you. Even though it's, going somewhere else, but I'm going to make it happen for you. And it's building relationships, not only with the people that I'm going to, make money on transporting those cars for, dealers and brokers, but also carriers, because there's instances where even if I wanted to transport a vehicle for someone, there's only but so much I can do as a company, and making those relationships. And then they call me, hey, can you help me out? And it's like everybody's in touch and we're all working together, because there's plenty out there for everybody to eat.
Especially now, there's so much work out there right now. I am like, it makes me shake when the board is so full that I can't get to it. And it makes me shake when the board has nothing on it. So either way, I'm stressed out. I'm so happy when we're so busy. And then turning work down just blows my mind. So I'm trying not to do that. And when we do come across, like people are asking us to move heavier loads than him and I can handle ourselves, I am reaching out to Sue and I am reaching out to other people to say, hey, look, I want to satisfy, just like Kathleen said, we want to satisfy everything. They call me the toe pimp, because I'm just one more. You could do one more. You could do one more. So I'm trying to live up to my reputation, and I hate saying no. So, but we want to make sure that who we service and we say we can do, we make sure that it's done right. So that's why we're financed. And that's it's still a learning, even after these years being in the industry, it's still learning.
Okay, I want to move on. I want to hear from Kandy a little bit more, so she can tell us a little bit about what she does and relationships with carriers, what we need to know about doing business at Jaxport. Can you fill us in?
Yeah, I can. How's everybody doing?
We're good. How are you?
It's a pleasure. I'm looking at everybody. I'm like, wow, this is why I love logistics. So I've always dealt with women in logistics. I've always been able to find like some old school women that may have, started out. They may have been just dispatching a broker in their own truck, but just somehow was woven into this industry. So it was just always beautiful for me. I've worked as a contractor doing logistics. I'll say logistics consulting. I've worked as a freight forwarder, as a broker. I was a dispatcher. I've been a truck driver and paid my way through school. And everything I did with this, it came off the back of a truck, be it a step deck, drop deck, RGN, flatbed. I pulled a van, I pulled a reefer, car hauler. I've always enjoyed the beauty that trucking provided me. I was able to take online classes and expand my love for logistics behind the wheel. So I love to see women drivers. I love to coach women drivers. I was a trainer over the road. A lot of nice women. Sometimes I wish I could see some of them, because I remember all those days where they thought they couldn't do it, where they was crying. And by the time they realized that they couldn't be like pussy with me, you had to step it up or get off the truck. Then they was like, what is wrong with this lady? I'm like, look, you either got to get it or get up out the truck, because we got to roll. I was with a company and I was running a team run. Like, yo, you got to get right, because I was making bank and I was not. They will drop you off. So I would go to the driving school and pick out like the best drivers, or the driving schools would call me and let me know, I got somebody for you. So I was on the truck, like when one come off, I would drop them off. They would cry. I would leave them at the terminal in Oklahoma, in Chattanooga, and be on to the next one. But I've always loved women who believe that, who knew that not just behind every good man is a good woman, a great woman, but like you right there. There's nothing, it's not to take away from what men do in trucking. It is definitely an addition, so it's good to see. I had a lady, I'll tell you about what I do, but I want to tell you about a quick experience. Her name is Kathy. I'll never forget this. I'd already been driving a long time. I'm not old, but I'd already been driving a long time, and I was dispatching. I was dispatching owner operators. And we had this one guy, I don't know if he listened. We had this one guy named Bob. Matt with Swift Arrow will remember this to this day. Because one guy named Bob, we all drove trucks together, and we just decided we were going to do cars. I hauled fuel. I was driving a fuel tanker then, and I was already brokering. So how I started that was, I used to, like, before this advanced technology, I would just buy domain names. Like in my head, I just buy domain names. And then I started putting lead pages behind them and still telling real stories about real car experience, like driving trucks or moving cars or equipment. And then I started getting customers and clients just like that, like real organic, off the muscle hustle. So, but I was still driving trucks because there wasn't a point for me to stop driving trucks, because I could do that right there on the laptop. Well, Bob Peavy got a real good load. I mean, like $1,700 car load from Florida to Colorado. And Bob, I don't know if he had a new boo thing or girlfriend or something, but he had plans for this trip. And it was not to deliver the cars when we agreed to. And I'm going to drop names so you know. 2 of them were reindeer cars. I don't know if anybody's familiar with reindeer, but don't haul no reindeer car if you ain't got plans on doing what you say you're going to do. You'll be blacklisted. It'll never happen again. You'll never see Donner and Blitzen on your truck again. So Bob is out there. He's telling me he's here, and I'm communicating to Kathy, is her name, at Reindeer Relocation. I'm communicating, telling her, oh, he's almost there. At 5 o'clock is looking good. Rah, rah. And you got DOD contractors that are literally made plans to go get their vehicles and are waiting on them. I'm like, okay, he's an hour out. Communicate with Bob. Long story short, Bob went nowhere near the drop point. Nowhere near it. He was somewhere booed up and got me lying to Miss Kathy on the phone. And the car had GPS tracking on it. So they're tracking the car like 5-6 hours away. Bob lying to me. And she called me like 10-11 o'clock at night when he quit taking my calls. And Kathy said, Kandy, you're a good person and you ain't never did me wrong, but somebody lying. Now I'm like, I ain't lying. I got what I got. She said, and she broke it down to me. She said, if you ever want to do business with Reindeer, she said, this driver, Bob is about to change your whole relationship with us. So if you love what you do and you ever want to do business with Reindeer again, you'll get to the bottom of this. Yo, it's like 10, 11 o'clock and I'm pissed. So I get up, get it together. Bob finally, I don't know what kind of crap he came up with. I realized he was lying in that moment. Like, we never had that kind of situation. I said, this Bob is about to get me in trouble. So I called Kathy, and man, she read me like a book. But I learned so much in that moment, in that back and forth, and she had it documented. Everything I said, thank God it added up. She knew that Bob was lying to me. I didn't even know he was lying. And well, she found out about the GPS too. But how that conversation ended is, man, don't play with nobody. Don't play with nobody. You be honest, because to this day, it's still a good feeling to know that relationship wasn't sabotaged. That she gave me help with that. And I will never forget. I don't know if she's still there, but Kathy taught me so much. So now I don't let nobody, you ain't finna BS me on the phone lying to me. You got to give me some proof. Send me a picture of the mile marker, something. But the truck stop receipt, yeah. So, but I don't deal in dispatch anymore. What I do deal with is, I'm like a mediator, or I don't know if mediator is the right word. Because I've been a broker and a dispatcher, and I've been crapped on, and I've stayed up all night and had all kind of breakouts from not getting a load covered and all kind of not knowing how to deal with the pressures that dispatching and brokering that brings on you, dealing with people who want their things, companies who want their things and believe in you. Because I had all those sleepless nights, you know, I always wanted a me, somebody who knew something more than I knew, somebody who was connected and valued the network, having a circle of trust, like somebody you could call when you're in a jam and don't know how to move a load, don't know what to do, to create an option. So that's what I do here. I provide an option we're terminal service. I provide an option for brokers, for freight forwarders, for export dealers, for dispatchers, for anybody moving something. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida, but you know, that's just a city. We know how to move freight. We know how to move it however. So I establish relationships with other vendors who offer terminal services. If you got a car coming out of Fort Lauderdale that you need to go to Crowley, we can deliver that with or without a TWIC card. We can provide TWIC escort services. It may not even be the side-by-side TWIC escort that our sister company provides. It may just be taking legal possession of the cargo, holding it till your customers get off their flight, or your customer drops it off here, and then they go hop on a plane to Puerto Rico or to Amsterdam, and they've left their cargo and in somebody's custody that's going to take care of it like it's our own. So that's what we provide for brokers, dispatchers, freight forwarders. We just offer a comfort. I guess that's the basis of what we provide. We resolve problems. I love logistics. I love CBP rules and regulations. That's kind of like a nice magazine to me, like just learning import, export laws. But I mostly like having good people like this right here who don't pretend like they know it all, but are smart enough to develop a network that by the powers combined knows a whole lot of it. So, and I guess that's what I do for the most part. It might be some other stuff, but I can't remember. Right.
But you have it all. You've done it all. That's perfect. So
it's so much. I don't think it'll ever be all, but it's a lot, right?
Well, it's apparent you love what you do. So that really is what matters in this industry, because you bring up a good point. This industry, if you're not stressed on a regular basis, you're not doing it right. Right?
You're doing it right.
Without stress, my life would be empty. Yeah. So it is very stressful. So people that can't multitask and can't be organized, this is not the industry for them. So getting your systems in line, getting all of your processes figured out long before you get into business is critical to success. One other thing a bunch of gals kind of touched on tonight, and I'm just going to bring it full circle, is you know, the client calls up and your trucks are already booked and you're full, but you don't want to tell them no. So it comes back to a thought process of a market team mentality. And it takes some trust. But once you develop those relationships with other carriers, let's say in your regional area, not necessarily in your direct, traffic lane, but within your regional area, and you said, hey, I don't have capacity to take this to Wichita, but I have a carrier that, is based out of Wichita. I'll get it on his truck. And I can call that carrier up, and a shout out to JT's Transport because I use them a lot and they use me a lot. But we just trade clients. I mean, we'll trade work. We're not worried about each other stealing each other's business. We're a support service for each other. If I need something going one way, he can fill me out. If he needs something going the other way, I can fill him out. But at the end of the day, the winner is the client, right? So, and we've all succeeded in meeting their needs. So I encourage you all to kind of, reach out to some of those other carriers that are in your areas that maybe you can develop those relationships with. And just know it's a little uncomfortable. It's a level of trust. But once you hit the ground running, it's a breath of fresh air because you can take a lot of pressure off of yourself and just meet those needs and know automatically you can say yes to that client. And that's aside from brokering. You're still brokering, but you've already got access to that truck if you need it. So those are good things to do. And I know it takes a while, but when you're getting into the business, it's a great way to start building work for yourself. So you're coming into the market, you don't have a set client base yet. You're working with brokers. They don't always have stuff. Why don't you hit up that next carrier and say, hey, if you got any overflow, I'll help you out. I'm not the guy that's going to steal your client. And you have to honor that. That's critical. So again, integrity, right? Hard work, multitasking, embrace the suck because it's there. And that's just what we have to do every day. So I don't know, other questions, other things that we want to discuss tonight, or we want to bring this full circle and talk about what we want to bring to more discussions.
That'd be good.
Okay, let's just run around the room.
Go ahead.
No, run around the room. Let's just talk. Go ahead.
So
I've got a couple of women that I told to come to the channel to show they dispatched their husbands already, or they dispatched I don't know how many times the brokers get it, but I get the question several times a week, how do I become a broker? And I always wonder, how did that become so popular that carriers and dispatchers ultimately just want to be brokers? And then when I ask them what they know about brokerage, or it's usually not much at all. So I go, why does everybody want to be a broker? Because they want to control the total gross of the revenue of the vehicle or cargo, not recognizing what all goes into attaining and retaining that relationship or those dealer relationships. So how do you encourage? I'd like to see more information on encouraging women to take independent dispatch, to maybe be an independent agent, to work for an established broker, an agent, or a dispatch company, something to delve more into learning how to actually do what you say you want to do, and not just saying it, because it gets old. And not to discourage anybody from becoming a broker, but at least learn what it really is before you start taking clients and being mischievous with breaking up the customer relationships that brokers have worked really hard to get.
Right. And there's some thought processes there that we can explore a little bit more, but I think a lot of times people want to go into brokerage because the aggravation and the onus of the liability of managing drivers' hours of service and all the compliance and regulations that go into a carrier-based operation is monumental compared to what goes into a broker operation. Now, I wouldn't say the margins are, you're not going to get wealthy just being a broker. So I think you'll make a nice living if you can get into that and really establish a client base and keep people hopping. But really, I think that's some of the draws. People want to be a broker because they either don't know or don't want to get involved in the DOT portion because it's a lot. It just is. So there's some of that. So Michele, do you have some questions or some thoughts?
I probably have so many questions because I just, this, there's a lot more that goes into this than I mean, I knew it was very involved, but there's just so much that goes into it. So I don't have any that I can really articulate off the top of my head right at this moment, but I'm just very impressed and thankful to be invited on the panel and have learned a lot and look forward to learning more.
Well,
I'll just be quiet and listen.
Well, thank you for coming. And I think what we'll do at the end of the show is we can all kind of like, if you guys have questions you think of afterwards, because that's always when I think of them, we'll just email them up and we can formalize something to send back to Jay and Ty, and maybe they can develop another show off of it that can delve down a little bit more. So, so let's move on to Jackie. What would you like to add, or questions or things that you want to lean forward on?
Well, specifically, I mean, we're all in business to make money, right? So what comes up a lot, and it's just frustrating, working, I was a dispatcher before, I work as a broker, but managing the expectations in terms of price, money, right? Like the drivers will tell me, oh, but what do you mean 400? I moved last week the same route for like 650. I'm like, yeah, but times change, and with the clients, right? So dealing with clients who, like, for example, now from Florida to Connecticut, you could be paying anything like $1,000 when last year it was $650. So managing that relationship with the client, I guess setting the expectations of price, and always reiterating it varies. It depends on the season. The standard stuff we always tell them. That's the hard stuff. It changes every season. It changes depending on fuel costs. So that's tough. And I mean, you'd think the clients are moving their cars. I mean, I deal with a lot of snowbirds, and they know it varies, right? You have the same conversation with them, but it just that's always a challenge. A challenge in managing,
the pricing conversation. Right. And the dealers know that it's going to be more expensive because they know the prices of their cars have gone up exponentially, and it's because of the cost of production, the cost of fuel, the cost of insurance, the cost of auction fees. It's shameful, honestly, and I brought this up several times, but it's really ludicrous when you stop and think that we get paid less to ship a car than most of the auctions charge for buy or sell fees. And we have the liability, right? We're the ones that have all the exposure to damage claims. Right. So, and I get that the auctions have some too, but not to the extent that the carrier industry has. So, is that a fair comparison? They're paying $500 to $600 in buy fees, and you ship it 300 miles for $175. Yeah. What's going on, right? There's got to be a conversation. So expectations, managing that pricing is huge. So, and maybe we need to get some dealers on a call, right?
Yes.
So, okay. Let's keep moving around. More questions. Catherine.
I was going to say, maybe we need to have some of the dealers ride along with us. In a snowstorm. That's what we need to do. That would be great.
Yeah, especially when you get to the auction and they're closed. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions per se? I mean, I'm fairly new. Every day is a learning opportunity. There's a lot of things that happen on a day-to-day basis where I have to just make a choice and ask myself, am I going to allow this to get me out of my game and my focus? Is it something that I can control? And be very specific about what I let fluster me. Otherwise, because again, we're talking about so many different variables. And I just have to maintain my focus on what the goal is, what's within my control, who do I have to keep happy here? It's the driver, it's the making sure the truck is in order. And I feel that, it's every day is different. It's the same, but it's different. Booking those loads, and I'm doing sort of a multifunctional role at this moment in time as we build and grow the company. So I'm doing dispatching. I am establishing relationships with other carriers for when I cannot, handle a certain amount of business, and they're reaching out to me in turn as well. I'm out there marketing and networking with dealerships. I'm out there at the auctions. I'm all over the place. And then at the end of the day, I have to come back to my desk and really go through that vision board of what I have for this organization and where I want it to be. So just again, reminding myself that every day is a new day. Every day is another opportunity to step up, show up, and be great. There is times where, I am discouraged. And luckily I have, an amazing business partner that when I'm down, he picks me up, and vice versa. And then there's this amazing forum of people that I've come across and met along the way that, everybody's going through the same struggle. It's hard to find a good driver. It's hard to find loyalty. It's hard to find good paying loads. Everything is hard. Nothing about this is easy. But just because it's not easy doesn't mean it's not worth it. And it doesn't mean it won't pay off in the long run. So, just keep pushing it and keep pushing it as we continue. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm thankful to, learn from people that have done this before that I can learn from, because I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. If there's a blueprint out there and it's successful and it works, I'll try it. And so, there's so many different, I remember my mom said, what are you doing? You come from corporate America, you're trying to get into a man's world, and she was so concerned. And we just jumped right in, and there's so many different opportunities out there. It's like when you go to the supermarket and you see all these different labels of bread. There's a whole aisle of all these different kinds of bread. How many kinds of different recipes do you have, like bread? But there is there, and the market is there. So, it's tapping into a little bit of everything and figuring out where you want to stay and focus on, and trial and error, I guess.
What do you love about this business? So what do you love? Like, it's always ups and downs. But what keeps you wanting to know more and be inspired? What is it that you feel that you really connect with in what you're doing right now?
I connect with people. I'm good at connecting with people. So you could put me anywhere. I'll go anywhere. And whether, in business, where that's what we're speaking about, and I know what my goals are for my business. And so I'm talking to everybody. I have no shame or problem with going over to anyone and saying, hey, that's a great, piece of equipment you got there. How long have you been doing this? Are you an owner operator? Do you work for someone? Are you happy? Like, what's the average pay? I'm asking all kinds of questions, invasive or not. But it's coming from, I'm asking from a position of, I just want to learn and understand. I'm not trying to be invasive. I just want to learn and understand. I'm in this industry now, so I want to learn it and understand it so that I can process it and figure out what are the best practices all around me on all different levels, and how can I help my company grow and flourish without going through some of those heartaches and turbulence that other companies may. I'm a fan of not repeating mistakes. I'm a fan of learning from other people's mistakes. And so, it's just talking to people and then finding where in my community, if I live here, and this is where I'm trying to service, dealerships, even smaller businesses. I'm a small business. So if I go to these smaller mom and pop businesses and they're like, man, we could really use some help here. How can I help you? How can I help you? And that's how I think of it. It's not, yes, the bigger picture is to grow my business, but I'm going into this looking for how can I help service my community? How can I build these relationships? I'm going to see you at the supermarket. I'm going to see you at church. We're all in this community, so how can I help you? And in turn, I feel like it's something that if I come at it from an act of service, it'll just come back full circle and, you reap what you sow is what the word says. So I'm just planting seeds everywhere.
That's real.
Perfect. Okay, Miss Shana, I think you're on with us now.
Shana's been quiet.
Shana's been quiet. She had some computer issues, but Shana is my favorite go-to. And if there was a definition picture in the dictionary for positive and encouraging, it would be hers.
Oh, man.
So Shana, I want you to tell us, what do you like about being a dispatcher? What do you like about dealing with all the different aspects? You're muted, dear. You're still muted. Hit the unmute.
The other button.
The other button. Oh, you're still muted.
The other mute.
It's in the far down left corner. Microphone.
Shana's like, what is going on?
What is going on?
She probably got her Zoom.
He doesn't look muted.
There, wait, we have something?
Nothing?
Oh, no. There she is. Oh, gotcha. All right.
It's only been undone. I don't know how many times. I'm like, it is undone. I'm a people person. I love meeting. I guess you don't really meet them, but I feel like I do sometimes. And especially the like husband and wife teams. I love the husband and wife teams. I think that it's something that my husband and I have a dream of doing one day when our kids are out of the nest, is starting to drive ourselves. And that's our way to see the countryside. Like, I live vicariously through all these drivers and what they're out there doing and seeing. I think it's phenomenal. And it's, yes, I work in the auto industry, but I've done trucking in multiple different industries. So it's, trucking it never sleeps. It's how you get anything. And I love it. I love it. I think it's fun.
Good. Shana is directly responsible for developing a lot of our carrier relationships when we're overflowing with OEM freight, and she hustles. So she's my right-hand woman and gets the job done. So kudos to you, Shana. I really appreciate everything. But yeah, I've never talked to her when she wasn't in a good mood. Sometimes we get chuckles out of the day and things that occur, but I think everybody does. But overall, it's a good day. We have our tough days. But I think developing those relationships is critical for a dispatcher, and you've all talked about it. So it's critical that keeping those relationships positive and being that linebacker and clearing the way when there's obstacles or a car is missing, or, being able to sub the load and not keep them waiting. Those are critical things. But I think everybody in this industry is learning that. So Shana, what's one thing that you'd like to see more of if we put some other shows together? What other aspects of this industry should we touch on?
Honestly, thinking of anything right off the top of my head right now is all foggy. It's way past my bedtime.
It's kind of late for her. Yeah, I kept her up late. Sorry.
Honestly, I can't think of anything right off the top of my head right now.
Okay, she's just overwhelmed. It's too late past her bedtime. Okay, well, I think we've kind of gone full circle with a lot of information, a lot of good discussion. I think there's a lot of things that came out of tonight that Jay and Ty can follow up with. Ultimately, I'd like to see some more women trained to become drivers, dispatchers, business owners, support staff, whatever it is that makes you tick. This is a challenging industry, but women never shy away from a challenge, do we? No, we're ready for it. So I think we're going to kind of wrap up the show. And if you do think of questions, just either email them over to me or get them over to Jay. And we will circle back at the end of the night for, well, I guess tomorrow, because I'm not staying up anymore. And we'll just follow up with some of the things that came out of tonight and see if we have some more ideas. Okay. All right. Thank you, ladies, very much. Have a wonderful evening, and we all appreciate your time. I think Jay's back with us now to close it up.
So, wow, you guys. Wow.
Did you say guys?
Go ahead, Julie.
All this
Said the best you
time,
once.
playing it right, playing it cool, and then I blow it at the end.
The auto transport intel, just us women.
This has been amazing.
Is Jay stumped? What in the world?
I am actually
speechless almost.
I'm kind of speechless. It's great. It
Well,
is
we
so
had a good
great.
show.
Here's what I can say. Here's what I do know. We have to do this again. And when I say we, I mean you. And so we'll figure that out. That's the thing. We were originally going to do this. What was it? June or July?
July. It was supposed to be July.
Okay, so we'll come back again. Maybe July then.
Okay.
That might work. And on short notice, yes. I want to thank everybody for, this was what, I think a week and a half ago, put this together. And I want to thank everybody for being flexible and jumping in and, you know, what's it going to be like? What are we going to do? Julie, you took the reins. You did an amazing job tonight.
Thank you.
Amazing. Maybe that's why I'm so speechless. So.
Well, you wanted to see if we could get 13 women in a room and talk for 2 hours. What were you thinking? Of course we could.
About business?
I'm saying, right?
But what an incredible group. I mean, and right out of the box, so smart. Leading with Rachel, wow. I mean, it just took off.
Yep.
And I was looking at the time. I think I brought you in 2 hours ago. And so yeah, I've never before have I ever watched a show that I put together just go.
I was wondering
happened.
about that.
Never. And I made a lot of I mean, I've done a lot of stuff, but that's never happened. I've never seen
I was
that.
wondering what you were doing. Like, did you feel weird?
Kimberly was texting me. I'm like, I'm just watching. I'm enjoying it. It was great. Yeah. So I just.
Well,
really
I think we all had a good time. A lot of good stuff.
It was fun and it flew by. Thank you so much for putting this together. This was awesome.
It was an honor, very much an honor to be a part of this. Some amazing women out there. So it was quite an honor to be invited. Thank you so much.
And
this is going to draw a lot more women in too. Like the ones watching are going to be coming in.
This was a learning experience.
I hope so.
It was eye-opening.
Women, we deal with things differently in logistics than men. We have to. We just think different and process different, more mental, I think, than physical. And that's like my balance between trucking and behind the desk. That's what it brings the best out of when a woman is able to not be as physical and can go back to her mental strong points in logistics. Or like, man, I just can't wait to learn so much more about every one of you. It's like reading a book that's not written. So I'm all ears.
Wonderful.
And I want to add to that, Catherine, when you were talking about how your business partner helps pick you up when you're down, and Shayna, when you were talking about the husband and wife team, that's the thing is tonight, there were moments where we just saw, it's like playing a pinball machine, just seeing that pinball bouncing around was so much fun. And the quote, "Oh, that's my bitch," happened earlier. Man, that was the best.
We talk about the community of women and that sisterhood, but I do not fail to recognize that I work with a man and he is my business partner, and where I am strong, and I need to pick him up, I do that. And when I need him, he comes and he picks me up. So I'm clear in that I am all about girl gang and girl power, but men are essential to, what we do and how we need, to work together with one another. And if I've found, we have a good balance going on within our business relationship, and it works, because, we need where I'm a sweetheart, and if I need somebody to come in and he's gonna come in and be a lion. So it's a good balance that we have going on there.
That's good.
That's so funny because my husband and I are the opposite. He's the sweetheart and I'm the one. Tony and I are the opposite. We keep each other in check, but yeah, he's the one, like, he's the pushover and I'm the feisty one. But then he's 5'5", 250-pound guy, and so he's not the intimidating one. I actually am.
Yeah, when it comes to conflict, the guys just kind of like fade into the woodwork, and it's like, talk to my wife.
Yes.
So, wonderful night.
All right. Well, it is a full moon.
Thank you.
And this has been amazing. So yeah, that's right. Howl at the moon, everybody. Thank you for being part of my experiment and experience.
Oh,
it really was an amazing.
Thank you for putting it together.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank you
Thanks,
all
everybody.
so much.
All right.
Bye.
See ya. Good night.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Wow.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you, Kandy.
You're welcome.
Thanks, LuAnn.
Bye. Good night, Jay. Thank you for everything.
Thank you very much. And closing it out. All right. Wow. Really, that was major wow factor. I just wanted to say I jotted down a couple things. From brokers to drivers to dispatchers, women work in recovery and logistics and location management, and the value they place on integrity and relationships, it's inspiring. Real talk, real life, real women. The industry is better when we communicate and we work together. Thank you, women in auto transport. We celebrate and appreciate you. Thank you so much for this evening's discussion and panel. Again, a special thanks to Julie Delp, President of Nationwide Auto Transport, for guiding the panel. She put together some great notes and questions and did an amazing job, and I thank her for that. Again, I want to thank Sue at Murphy Auto Transport Services. If you're looking for a dispatcher, she's also a fully licensed broker. She's my co-host on Thursdays. Thank you, Mark Brodicke, SuperFlo Systems, end-to-end software. If you're looking for a mobile app, TMS, load board, CRM, SuperFlo Systems. Thank you, United Road. Be sure to visit gonvta.org. Also, the Holly Load Board, HAULLY.com. And if you have questions for Sue or Mark or United Road, feel free to send me an email, autotransportintel@gmail.com. If you got an idea for a show, we talked about some things tonight. If you need some follow-up or you need some help, I'll just go ahead and put up again, do me a favor, go to autotransportintel.com and click on sign up, become an ATI insider. Thank you, everybody, for joining the live chat tonight. This really was an amazing, thank you, Chris. And yes, thank you, Carlos. I was speechless. I had to get the get the motor, the generator going again. Yeah, no, I sat and I watched the show, and I'm the host and I built this channel, but that's one of the things that I'm proud of and trying to work towards on a regular basis. Is this is an open forum. This isn't just one person on the main stage. I created this channel, but it's not about me. It's about the industry. It's about the community, and you're a part of it. And so help others discover what you already know, that this is Auto Transport Intel. This is the car shipping business channel. And we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of great things to continue to cover, and I need your help. So thank you so much. I think it's time to run the car hauler. Man, it's 5 to 11 Central Time. We're almost at midnight. And thank you, everybody, for participating, tuning in, saying hello. We'll see you tomorrow if you're ready to get back on the road and you got a problem and you don't want to get hassled and you just want to run a business. Tune in for DOT Compliance with your DOT guy, Brian Riker, 30 minutes at noon, answering questions. We want to help. Let us know how we can help. Leave a comment below. Send an email. Other than that, here comes the car hauler. Thank you guys so much. Peace out, and we'll see you soon.